Oh, hi everybody! Welcome to the program. A little podcast for you here on I believe it's a Wednesday. It's Boomer, it's Warner, and it's the Macho Man,
Ryan
Cream
Pinder.
always rises.
Pinder.
Cream.
Where did you get that shirt? Because it is tremendous.
So I've got this lunatic group of pals I play fantasy hockey with, as I scored is like tangled behind my back, and I'm trying not to die here.
Yeah.
And we had a weekly wager between me and the commissioner, and the loser had to buy a T-shirt from like the WWF shop.
Nice.
Yeah, I won.
So were you the winner or the loser?
Oh, I was the winner. You get this.
Oh, okay,
Come on now, T-shirt like this.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This isn't shaming. This is incredible.
I was going to say either way.
I think I wore it the day you were at WrestleMania as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was picked up or not.
Vegas next year, WrestleMania. Who's in?
Is that right?
Yeah. One of the big football stadium thing there that they got.
Oh my God, Allegiance or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a large building.
Retro? You didn't make Philly?
Less weather concerns than Vegas, I'd suggest.
That place indoors, all of it indoors.
Well. Yeah.
That's real good, huh?
Yeah.
So is that next week?
Next year. Next
Right.
April.
Oh, that's
It's
long.
annual events, not a.
I'm giving you, see, I know you like having enough time.
Yeah, way
Now
out
it's too
there.
much time.
He's a big planner.
Yeah.
I'll be there till
Okay. Yeah. You let me know Wednesday.
today. I'm in.
Good enough. Good stuff. I'm excited. We have, we're not behind. You know what it is? We're just kind of leisurely making our way through the postseason. We're into round number 2. Frank Seravalli said, you know what? This round number 2 might be one for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. And through one night, a little pee came out last night.
Really?
Watching these hockey games, man.
How many
Loved every minute of it.
3. And Red said it yesterday, Dean. The Colorado Avalanche are must-watch television.
Yes, they are. Yeah. And don't turn them on and then leave
No.
thinking that it's over.
I'll look at the score and think, oh, what happened?
I can't believe it. That's
too bad.
You got to hang in
They're
there.
only down by 3. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
If it's 5, even then I'm not sure.
Let's bring in our hockey analyst from TSN, Jamie McLennan. Noodles is there. He is, the vintage goalie himself. Hell of a start to round number 2. I don't. It's too hockey. It's too sportsy. How are you?
Yeah,
What's
seriously.
going
I'm
on?
good. I'm
Yeah?
good. Guys, what's going on? I don't go to WrestleMania. I don't know much about it. In the year 2000, when I played for the Minnesota Wild, when they were opening the building, I played with a guy named Steve McKenna, who was like 6'8". He was a monster. And WrestleMania invited him to be a guest referee.
Oh, yeah.
So we went down that afternoon and we had to go through like the routine of what was going to happen, right? Somebody was going to come out of the crowd and go nuts. And then there was going to be a chair involved. And then McKenna was supposed to be distracted. And then somebody else came on and like, it was like a whole, but he had to be aware of it. And he was really good. It was amazing. And those guys are pure athletes, but it's also, like I say, it's a little bit like, choreographed, but then all hell breaks loose with the emotion.
What?
It was really cool.
Choreo.
I just remember they gave us floor seats. I was like 2 rows back, and right behind me was like a 80-year-old woman who was just giving them the finger and yelling. And I'm like, where the hell am I? Am I on the moon?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. So that was my like WrestleMania or whatever it was. One of these, I can't remember if, it was WWE or whatever it was, but it was pretty cool.
So, sorry, this was in Minnesota?
So it was the year 2000 because expansion. So, and it was like early on, they just opened the rink. So we were just, new Minnesota Wild players and they invited Mac and Mac, we had a bunch of beers and went down. It was kind of made a night of it. It was awesome, but it was like, he had to put the referee jersey. He was a guest referee and he had to kind of play along. And there was a bunch of mutants, including him in the ring. It was awesome.
Yeah. They had Jason Kelsey and one of the other Eagles part of the event this year. So yeah, it's tried and true, buddy. Tried and true. How's the back scratcher? Is that what we got there? The back scratcher.
So I had to bribe my kids because this is my pride and joy, and it never leaves my office. Okay. I came home from a road trip. It was missing because my idiot son, who's 6, and his friends decided to take it somewhere and play with it. And then he couldn't remember. And then he blamed it on his sister. So I scoured the house looking for this for weeks. And then I finally snapped the other day, and I said, I will bribe you all. I said, for my son, Roblox money. For my daughter, I said, I will buy you something Taylor Swift. You find it. Both of them looked for about 5 minutes and gave up. And then I decided to look, and I found it in the basement under a bunch of toys. So I was so mad, but now I'm guarding this thing with my life. I love my back scratcher. Like, it's my favorite thing. And I keep it everywhere at the house. It's my pride.
A holster.
It's in a holster, exactly.
Keep it on you like a weapon.
Well, it's good for a few things. You keep the kids away a little
Exactly.
bit.
Yeah.
Tune them up
Spot
if they act up, give them a whack. No, you can't touch anybody, but you can't give them a whack on the hands anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what?
Crazy
Story. I used to, do you guys remember this? I'm old enough. I mean, I don't know, retro. I got the strap a few times in elementary. Like, I don't know.
At school.
Yeah, at school from the principal.
I know it existed. I never got it. I had heard some kids did get it.
Really?
I got it. You're supposed to, back then, you're supposed to take some hair and put it on your hand. And then when they strap it, you pull it off. And if they draw blood, the teacher would get in trouble. That was what I was told. They never drew blood. Wow. But I remember my principal
Scientific.
My principal was Chris Osgood's dad, John. He was awesome. But I think he had to lay down the business one time for me. Him and there was another guy named John Carilla. They had to strap me one time.
Johnny.
I threw a snowball and hit one of the recess teachers right in the face by accident. So
Noodles.
She walked into it. It wasn't my fault. I didn't,
Sound like my kid, not your fault, eh?
Listen, I got in big trouble one time. We were there was one kid, and we were in the hallway. I think it was after lunchtime, after recess, and somebody had gotten his toque and whatever, and they were kind of, keep away, throwing it around. The next thing you know, we're getting called down to the office. And the assistant principal grabbed me and the one other guy by the scrub, and was holding us up against the wall with our feet dangling, that sort of thing.
Oh,
and he's like, "It's 40 below outside. What are you doing taking away the kid's toque and mitts?" It was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm thing, but it wasn't outside. It was, no, it wasn't outside. It was in the hole. You got this all wrong, man. And he was very, very upset. I thought we were getting the strap that day, but luckily, just scruff of the neck and banging our head against the wall of his office. Prick was wrong though. It was not that big a deal. It was in the hallway.
Nowadays, you get a stern talking to, a pat on the back. We don't do it that way. Here's a participation badge. All of that type of stuff. We don't do that.
Is there a reason that you took the toque and mitts? Are you upset about something else? Do you want to maybe have a chat?
Exactly. So
well, heck of a start to round 2 last.
There is great hockey though. I will say that, and that Colorado team is serious, man. Like Dallas is a great team. I just feel like I've never seen Miles Wood skate that fast. That was an unreal. Like, where did Miles Wood? Like, it looked like that was McLennan, a left.
I know.
McLennan. It was unreal.
That whole team flies.
I was just gonna say. Now, I'm sure it's team philosophy, and I'm sure they try and bring guys along that do have speed. But some of it has to be McKinnon and McCarr and rubbing off on those guys. Play fast. They are always where the puck's going.
Yeah.
Not where it's being, not where they're not chasing, they're not catching up. They're there.
Yeah.
And you would think a guy maybe like Miles Wood, if he's got the puck on a partial break or whatever, I'm gonna take it through the neutral zone. And I'm looking over my shoulder. Who's with me? Have I got a 2-on-1? Have we got an odd man rush? No, it's pin your ears back, and I'm going to blow the doors off this guy who was Heiskanen.
Yeah.
It's not like you're getting by me on the blue line or something.
And it started with their power play. I mean, that's really what it is. Their power play gets them back into it, and then special players, and then a special play by a non-suspecting guy, Miles Wood. But, I think I told you guys this when we chose our teams. I thought Colorado and the Rangers were going to be in the finals. Now, it could be, who knows? But I think Colorado, I watched them live twice near the end of the season. I'm like, these guys are a serious, serious team.
Mhm.
Now, again, if the goalie decides to look like me in the net, that's no good. But they found a way around it last night, and we'll see if Dallas has a response, because they're a hell of a team too.
Well, they're a great defensive team. They held them to 4. That's no one's done that yet this playoffs. I mean,
Exactly.
it's that crazy. They don't need necessarily anything but just okay goaltending. They won a cup with Kemper.
Yep, that's true. And you know what? They need Georgiev to be solid.
Yeah.
Give them a chance. That's it.
Stop the ones you're supposed to. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, and he did last night. He was good when they settled in. But man, oh man.
Surprising a little bit to me how much of an impact the power play is having. We know that it tightens up and that'll start to go away, but you go back to the Edmonton series and they feasted on the power play, and the Kings had basically killed them. The other game last night, Canes go 0 for 5 in the power play, 0 for 10. Their penalty kill was no good. They lose. They're down. And like you say, Colorado, they got back into this game because of the power play, which is not to say that they wouldn't have otherwise. And even the overtime winner by Trocheck is a power play goal. And there were, I think both teams had 2 tries with the man advantage. There were multiple power plays through the overtime. Little surprised, I think, a little bit. Even that call that led to the game winner in the Carolina game, a little, kind of a cross check on Trocheck.
I thought it was soft. I thought it was thin based on the timing of the game.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, to me, like, it's prison rules. And, if a guy's on a breakaway has a wide open net and you try and chop his arm off, then, that's a slashing penalty. Outside of that, you got to let them play. I thought it was a thin call. Carolina was awesome. Like, Shesterkin was really good.
Yeah.
Like that could easily be a 1-1 series, and it probably could and should have been. But the Rangers find a way, right? Power play, special teams have been the difference. We'll see how, I don't think Edmonton's going to go. So Edmonton went 9 for 17, but they scored 2 goals within 3 seconds of the power play, expiring. So
in one game they did that.
They were really 11 for 17.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that against Van, but it'd be interesting to see. I think Van's going to try and bully them. You're going to have Zadorov running around, Carson Soucy. You got to be smart about it. But I think that's where Van's going to try and go is, hey, we're going to – and there's where a guy like Evander Kane can be a difference maker, because he'll keep some of those guys in check. And
so how do you bully when you're a millimeter across the line and there's a power play given to that team? That's the one thing you can't do, and Talk had said it, is you can't turn over the puck, you can't give them power plays. Can you bully without the fear of taking penalties? Like, walk us through that. That feels like a fine line to walk.
I think the only philosophy, and I would speak to Rhett about this, is you're going to take a penalty, you take a chunk of somebody. Like if you're going to take a roughing penalty in a scrum, you punch a guy square in the face. Like, you take a roughing penalty. You don't. It's not a little slap and a cuff and hey, like if for some reason outside of like a stick infraction where a guy gets around you, end up hooking him by accident, whatever. Like, it's just a live play. But if you were going to take an aggressor penalty, you get a piece of that person. That's what I would be looking at.
So can you do that in a close game, or only when it's out of hand?
No, you can't. Like, I think it's out of hand, but I don't think Zadorov is a guy who's going to go, you know what, I'm just going to tread up to the line and walk it. I think he's a guy who doesn't control himself. So, I think it makes him good, but it also makes him a liability. On a night where he's skating and playing to his capability, he looks pretty good. But on the nights where he can't control himself, whistle to whistle, Edmonton can expose that.
Did you have something there, Rhett?
Oh, I'm with Noodles. If you're going to go ahead and take one, like when you want to take a penalty, get it so that he's got a bloody nose and he can't sleep at night. Like, you're going to take a roughing? Take one.
I'll give you the prime example, and it ended up being a bad penalty that cost Vegas. But Pietrangelo forearm glove to Sagan's nose that broke his nose. That was a 2-minute roughing penalty. Initially, they called it a 5-minute major, and then they went back to 2 minutes while Sagan was fixing his face on the bench, and they were stuffing the cotton up there. And now Dallas scored on the power play, so it was a difference. And Bruce Cassidy took a shot at Pietrangelo after the game and said he needs to know better. But that's what I talk about. That was a penalty. That's a flat out penalty. And Tyler Seguin, felt that he's probably still feeling it to this day because his nose is probably still cracked or something. But that's what I'm talking about. You can't, if you're going to take a penalty, you got to stay out of the box. That's the best kill. But if you're taking one, you got to take a piece of somebody.
Yeah. And see, if I'm Knobloch and the Oilers, if Vancouver's saying, you know what, we're going to have to bully these guys, I would be saying, you know what, you definitely need to bully us.
Yeah.
For sure, bully us, because we'll put our 55% power play to work. And if it
Gotta be able to kill if you're going to take a penalty.
A 1-goal game, we'll take our chances for sure. But I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't have a whole lot of high hopes for this series. I feel like Edmonton is going to cruise here.
I do. I think people are sleeping on Vancouver's ability to defend.
Okay, tell me how and why.
In the second half of the
third
season,
stringer.
Nashville was a very, very good offensive team that scored a ton, and Vancouver dragged that into the muck and wet toweled the crap out of it by their decision, and they turned it into no event hockey. That's the only way you can beat the Oilers.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they can't play good D, but come on, we're going to compare Nashville to.
Oh, just saying, the notion that this is a team that was no good, like that's probably a top 3 team in the second half of the year, Nashville, when you look at their record.
Yeah. But it wasn't based
card,
on overwhelming offensive prowess.
In the second half, it was. They were one of the best offensive clubs in the season. The second. Well, okay, I'll go find the stats then.
So you're comparing Nashville to Edmonton offensively.
Nashville was second in the league from the end of the All-Star break to the end of the regular season in goals per game. Only Toronto scored more per game.
Okay.
And what do we say about the regular season and how it lends to the playoffs?
Season series, I don't really give a shit. I don't care that Vancouver swept the Oilers. I don't believe in that. But I think if you take the 40% of this regular season, that's not nothing. That's a high-scoring team they shut down.
Well, the thing too is Nashville played that series was a low event series. Like when you look at just the shots on goal, there was no ice to be contested out there. I don't know. I would argue that Vancouver Edmonton is going to be higher event because I don't know if either one of these teams has 100% discipline to play that Nashville style where it's like, just blanket. Like to me, Vancouver wants to score. They want to they've got depth. That third line is a hell of a third line. Like they can score. And I think that they can play, a hard style. It's just, my question is, how is Edmonton going to adapt to Vancouver style? Or is Vancouver going to have to adapt to Edmonton? Like who's going to impose their game?
But isn't that the issue, right? That's the winning and losing of a series. You've been enough of them to know that if you're starting to adapt your style because the other team's having success, you're effed already. Like any team that I've had success with, I don't care what the other team does. This is what we have to do. Right. And they have to adapt to us. And once you get a team doing that, it doesn't guarantee you the win, but it certainly speaks to you having the upper hand.
Yeah. I think there'd be a lot of factors, right? The goaltending, like who's starting? Is Sheloff starting? So
it looks like it, right?
We got Sheloff starting. Stuart Skinner's got still stuff to prove. I thought he was great in the first round. He had one bad game and that ended up costing them that game. But outside of that, he stole one in LA. I thought he absolutely stole that, even though there wasn't a lot of high quality chances. He was really good. The goaltending will be a factor because, Sheloff is obviously had 3 great games, but he hasn't faced that power play. He hasn't, there's going to be a lot of pressure here, and Edmonton can score. I will say that they're a high scoring, very talented team. So, is Vancouver going to try and dumb it down, try and bore the game down and play 5-on-5 and just see if Edmonton, that would be the game plan if I'm Rick Tocchet.
I don't think they can beat them 6-5. Like the only chance Vancouver has is to do what they did the last series, which is to play 2-1. No one gets more than 25 shots. Make this as dull as possible. I don't know if they can, but that's the only path for them I can see.
Yeah.
Now, when you say last, do you mean Vancouver, Nashville, or
because that was as low event as it got in terms of chances.
But who was that by design? Was that Vancouver's
I think it was by Vancouver's design.
Nashville's?
When we asked Frank, who covered that series, he said, this is Vancouver's choice to do this. They're choosing to dump it in and hit rather than try to carry through the neutral zone. I think Rick Tocchet's trying to teach his team how to defend and be difficult to play against.
Well, it did work. They were patient. They hung around. They ended up getting rewarded in the end. But I look at it in, even against LA tried to step back into that 1-3-1 and Edmonton just decimated them. Like, there was times I pointed out one, I think on SportsCenter, where Darnell Nurse stood with the puck in front of his net. And it took about 10 seconds for Edmonton. He called everybody back and said, let's regroup. And they ended up getting a chance off of it because they got speed through the neutral zone. They skated it. They broke the 1-3-1. They got a chance off of it. Like, to me, Edmonton will decimate that if they move their feet. I still think tonight might be a sloppy game. Edmonton hasn't played in a week. And you know what it's like? You're kind of like, it's kind of like what Florida had the other night against Boston. Boston just rolled from great game 7 right into game 1, kept rolling. Their emotion was high. They knew how to play. They knew how they wanted to play. Florida had to start the engine up again. And they had a decent start, but they couldn't sustain it. And it'll be interesting. Both of these teams have had a little bit of a break, Edmonton a little bit more. Will it be sloppy early on trying to establish your game plan? Or will it be kind of slow and, hey, let's feel this out? What are you going to do? We're not sure what we're going to do yet here. I'm fascinated. The only thing I'm pissed about, and this is an Easterner speaking right now, is it's a 10:20 Eastern puck drop.
Which you get to choose where you live. Come on. You can come to the Mountain Time Zone whenever you want.
You're right. Or if you want to sell your league, which we are in the business of selling your league, you could have a 6:00 start in Vancouver, make it 9:00 Eastern, which is prime time, and you have the best player in the world on display. Think of the people in Newfoundland that want to watch this.
I'll watch it.
I want the doubleheader.
I understand it. It just my point is I think there is some flexibility there.
Can't you start a game out east at 6?
They're doing 5:30 tonight. Yeah, so. That's
you're
right. They could go up earlier. Sorry, they're 7:30 Eastern, 5:30. So you're right. They could have gone at 6:30, bump everything up.
I'm talking 6:00 Eastern. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass but anyway, whatever.
Okay, but even let's do this. Let's just say this. You're starting it at 7:30 tonight. Why not start it at 7 and 9:30? So you could do 6:30 in Vancouver, which isn't going to really kill anybody. But that extra half an hour gets you into prime time. Gets people engaged in it when they're channel surfing, because like I say, it's 10:00 start. It's actually, I read this morning, 10:20 puck drop. So that's a 7:20 puck drop in Vancouver. People are going to stay up to watch it because it's going to be a great series. My point is if you're trying to drag in a casual fan, just like, to me, get it right into prime time, get it there. And, in Stanley Cup finals, 8:00 every night. So whether it's in LA or it's in Boston, it's a 8 p.m. Eastern start. Because I've been to them. Vancouver, the finals in 2011, that was a 5:00 start in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So they can do it, and people will take off work to do it. Again, this is somebody who lives in the Eastern time zone complaining. It's first world problems.
Sure is.
But it is. But you know what? Like on Sunday, you've got Florida Boston starting at 6:30 Eastern, and then the Oilers in Vancouver at 9:30. Why does it have to be?
Yeah, but then we complain when they started at 10:30 this Sunday that opened the playoffs. I mean,
no, but there's fewer games now. There's 2 games that day.
Yeah.
Why do you have to start Edmonton, Vancouver at 7:30 Mountain Time? Start it at 6.
Yeah.
Move it back.
And I don't know what the building availability is and all that, but
I'm nitpicking, but it's stuff to me. It could be a win because you're trying to sell the league, grow the game, and have everybody lay eyes on it instead of just, this is all about ratings. It's all about having people, actually watch your game. Who's going to watch it live other than the diehard fans that are in, like a guy in what is it? The time zone out there, another hour and a half out to Newfoundland or whatever.
Half hour.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I just, maybe
you just have to rig the lottery and put all the best players in Toronto and New York, and then the ratings will be great. No one will have a problem with that. Come on, Noodles. Let's go.
How about John Butchergross sending that tweet out that rattled some people because it was just, I think they had the draft order up there, but people are like, it's rigged already. It's rigged,
him deleting it was the problem.
Yes.
The moment you do that, then it's gas on the fire.
Yes.
Why delete it if it's just a dress rehearsal? Like, that's when the conspiracy theorists went nuts. Look at the bottom of the screen. This post has been deleted. Like,
Yeah.
John, come on. A, don't take the photo, but then B, don't delete it. That's not going to make things better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's, you know what? I kind of chuckled about it because that ended up, now that one had Utah at 2. I don't think Utah chose second.
It was not the same lottery outcome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not.
Utah moved up a bunch in that.
So luckily it didn't end up being like that. So I don't know what, the Flames at 9. I don't think they're going to get Iggy's boy. I don't think.
That's right in the mix, though.
I don't know. I heard a vicious rumor the other day that he's creeped his way into top 5 type of scenario.
Bob McKenzie had him 10.
All it's going to take is one team, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well,
but
think about
he
this.
hasn't got there yet on the across the board list, except for one that I've seen inside the top 10. But I think these NHL teams are with you, Noodles. Like,
And the boards are all over the place. We talked about it yesterday. There's no consensus after number 1, basically.
If I had a coin flip, like think about this. And there is recency bias with this, but you can point to something. You can point to Keith Tkachuk and go, look at the boys that he produced. And both of them are rock stars. And, in their own way, right?
Sure.
Like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So you've got a Hall of Famer in Jarome Iginla, and it looks like the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree. So you better be damn sure that the ones you're going to choose in front of Tij Iginla are going to be better than him eventually. Like that would be that's my bias because I love Jarome and know Jarome and know the kid. But if you're picking at 5 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and they're pretty close, I'll go with somebody who's grown up in the business and I know the dad and I know what the bloodline looks like and the competitiveness and stuff and, the way he's been raised. That might put him over the top. That was one of the arguments the scout told me is that that could be a tipping factor with Tij is if you like 2 players at 5 or 6 or whatever that are close. Tiebreaker goes.
We've talked about that. And I mean, 3, 4, 5, maybe not 6, 7, 8. It's conceivable. Like you say, if you're going to use something as a tie break, you could do worse than Hall of Fame, ultra competitive dad and great family and kid and all of this. And also the trajectory.
Yeah. He did nothing last year. What was he, 16 points in Seattle? Nothing on a very good team that was loading up for the Memorial Cup. Yeah. And then this year, so you wish you had more data, but he's also got all this helium. He's going higher and higher every time you see a list.
Yeah.
Can't live away from home. Is that what you're saying?
It's home cooking.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Trade up. Hey, Rhett, go get him at 5.
Yeah. Better trade up. Damn it. All these extra picks. Now you need them just to get the guy you thought you were getting at 9. Wow. Quite a week in Toronto. Noodles. How's
I like that.
Man, oh man.
Talking about Drake?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's getting hot there
all these diss tracks. First, the players, the Leafs are going to talk on Monday, and then the brass aren't talking till Thursday. Now they're not talking till Friday. And what's happening? So now as we chat today, it's Wednesday. What's cooking? Good looking out there.
Well, it's black armbands for sure because the market's just deflated. They win those, like somebody told me, again, I just kind of sit back and listen, but somebody told me this is the most Leafiest thing to do. Get down 3-1, charge back like you're going to win the series, and then lose in overtime in Game 7.
There's 2 funerals, right? We did it after Game 4, and then we got to do it again after Game 7. It was incredibly Leafy. They literally had 2 seasons end in that series.
And then some of the comments have been just outrageous. Like Sheldon Keefe at his post-game presser was like, yeah, teams prepare for the Leafs to beat themselves. Like, so he's putting them in third person, like not my team, like the Leafs. Like there was just like, even in the players' media, it's like, oh, you guys always find a scapegoat. Like you and the media and the fans always find a scapegoat. Mitch Marner, he's a friend. I'm like, just come out. Like all I can think of now, this is one example, and there's plenty, but all I could think about, Nathan McLennan, the year before he won the cup, said, I've been in this league 9 years and I haven't done you know what. And he goes, I'm tired of it. And that's the soundbite I remember. Like, not once have I heard William Nylander go, you know what? Like, I'm sick of losing. I want to do something about it next year. Austin Matthews, it's because they don't want to shine a light more on themselves. It's like, hey, they've been coached up. It's the same message, same everything. They all are united and, hey, everyone's against us and we're the victims here. Not having a press conference at the end of the year if you win. That's the thing. Like, you look at the hard facts is Brendan Shanahan's been here for 10 years. They've got one playoff round win. Every team in the league, excuse me, every team in Canada in the last 10 years has more playoff wins than the Leafs. Ottawa went deep. Calgary's been into the second round, and Calgary, I think, has more for sure. 2 of them. Mm-hmm. Edmonton for sure. Vancouver in the bubble. Montreal went to the final.
I'm not sure about Ottawa.
Ottawa went in 2017. Lost
with
to
Carlson.
Erik Karlsson.
That's right. I apologize. That
was the last time they were in the playoffs, and they went to the conference final and lost to Pittsburgh in overtime. Montreal went to the Cup. Winnipeg has gone to a conference final. Like, in the last 10 years, the Leafs are the only team they've got one playoff round win. And so when people point that out, it's like, oh, we're victims, yeah, you're not. We're just looking at the cold, hard truth is, yes, you believe you've had a team. Regular season heroes went from 115 points to 110 points, 105, 104. They've been a 100-point team. They've been last 8 years in the Matthews and Marner and Nylander era. Regular season, they've killed it. They've been great. You can't just have the excuse we run into a hot goaltender, because they have. They ran into Carey Price. They've run into Vasilevsky. They've run into Korpisalo in Columbus in that game 5.
Swayman.
They've run into, but you guys get paid $12 million, $11 million a year to break through. Like, that's, at the end of the day, I think there's going to be change here. I'm not sure how much. Keith Pelly has just taken over at MLSE. He's been on the job 1 month. If you take a look at it, the Raptors are a mess. The TFC team has Herdman back, but they've been a mess. The Blue Jays Blue Jays is,
separate.
It's separate, but they're not doing well either. And now the Leafs have lost again in the first round. So I think you can't just keep running the same band back and hoping the tune changes. I don't know. So we'll see what happens.
Who said it the other day? And I'll bring it up because what they need is a defenseman. They brought in Marlowe, and then to dump his contract.
Amarillo signs Marlowe to a 3-year deal, and Dubas is so up against the cap, he moves the last year of Marlowe's contract out to Carolina for a first that turns into Seth Jarvis.
Yes. There is a crazy tree here. Like, we can sit for hours and go, even the kid in Boston, the 6'5" kid who scored the other day, no, not Laura.
Forward?
Brizo or whatever.
Justin Brazeau.
He played for the Marlies.
Yeah.
He played for Toronto. Like, Mason Marchment, Carter Verhaeghe. There's players that have come through, but that just have gone out because listen, I don't mind an aggressive management that tries to add to their team at the deadline. They've been trying. But unfortunately, this team has to be treated like Tampa, like Chicago, like LA, teams that have won that have to cycle through and pressed up against the cap. The Leafs have to act like that, but they don't have the wins to back it up. Mm-hmm. You can give Tampa a pass. You can give, Chicago and LA, they're in, the retool, or they were in the retool. They won. But that's the challenge here in Toronto. They haven't won, and they're still having to dump players and move salary around and that, because their team has acted like they've won from a management standpoint, the cap part. I just don't know they can have 4 guys that make in double digits next year that play relatively the same position up front.
Yeah. Lots of teams have 4 guys making 40. No one has 4 forwards doing it. Right. What happens with Marner? How big of an issue is Marner and the full no move. I mean, I think everyone would love to see fireworks here, but if he says I'm staying, what the heck can Treliving do?
Well, here's my question and it would be to him and to everybody. Like, at what point does he go, I need a change?
Yeah.
Like Mitch Marner, the person, the husband,
Does he have enough?
Yeah.
And this is tough because this is me speculating. But does he have enough say in his own life to even understand what he needs or wants?
I don't know.
Because from what my understanding is that, and it's not a shot, the guy's unbelievable, but there's been a lot of control and oversee on what Mitch Marner is going to be and do. And it's turned him into one of the most talented players in the NHL. But some of these guys, and you're around it more than I am, you're way closer to NHLers than I am. They don't seem to have a depth to their personality. Do you know what I mean?
I know
Makes
what you mean.
sense.
Yeah,
Character.
yeah.
Where he would even understand that maybe moving would be a good thing.
Yeah, I know what you think or what you're saying, and you're right, because it's no secret his family's close. They're from here. His dad's been around. They're a tight knit family. This is all he's known. So sometimes what they say the grass may not be greener on the other side, but if you've never been over there, you don't.
Grass doesn't have to be dead either.
Right. And for me, I just look at this as a human, and you pointed to it, Rhett. This guy's an unbelievable player. He's a first-team All-Star right winger who developed by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yes, he makes a lot of money, but during the regular season, he earns it technically because he gets 95 to 100 points every year. This guy's unbelievable. He plays power play, plays penalty kill. The challenge is the framework of this team is not working. Mm-hmm. You've got an $11 million centerman who will be 34 years old. 1 year left on his deal. Okay. Matthews is signed. Nylander just signed the extension. So they've committed. You got to figure out, to me, the question marks are on two players. John Tavares in his final year, and Mitch Marner needs an extension off of an $11 million contract. So he's not going, hey, I'll take 6 or 7. He's going, I'm a 100-point guy. I'll take 12, whatever the raise is off of 11. So you treat, like, personally, the Marner family, include Mitch and his representatives, they've got to make a decision. Do they want to stay through this? Secondly, the organization has to make a decision. Do we want to pay this guy and have him part of it? And if those two, all of them have to sit down together and go, let's come up with a plan here. But Mitch Marner might just, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for him. But he might put his hand up and go, I need a change of scenery. It's best for my health, but me as a player. Or the Leafs might go, we want you to have a change of scenery because we can't afford to continue on the same path that we've been doing. And then the question becomes, and I put it to you guys, if you traded him, you're going to lose that trade, no matter what it is, because, people are like, get a D. Okay, well, Taylor Hall went for Adam Larson. Like, that didn't work out on paper, obviously. Edmonton needed a D. And, you're going to lose that trade unless it's something crazy where another guy needs a change of scenery and it's star for star. So I think it's a really tough predicament because you're not just getting cap space. You got to replace a superstar player. And you might do it with, hey, 2 players that are really good, but you're not, Mitch Marner is Mitch Marner. He's a hell of a player.
Here's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like, if you have the patience for 1 year, you've got $22 million in cap space.
Right.
There's no excuse to have mediocre goaltending and a shitty decor if you have $22 million in cap space. Marner's money's done in a year. Tavares' money is done in a year. I don't even care if you lose a deal. You might be just better served not being up against the cap for the 10th year in a row or whatever it is, and getting a deeper club, having some money on the blue line.
Which I agree 100%. But then you've got to sell to the fan base, and I'm sure they would. And it's not really you'd have to sell it. It's just we might take a step back to take a step forward here.
You
And
can just let it run off, though, is my point. You don't have to trade him. Like, you
Well,
don't have to take a step back next year in
you
the sense
wanna,
of, like,
like,
you still
if
the
you want
core.
to lose an asset for that, like think of how much heat that
Gaudreau.
the Johnny Gaudreau situation for Tree. Like, I think you can move the asset. You just have to be mindful that you're not getting a Mitch Marner back. You might be getting cap relief. You might be getting a different structure of a team. And you might get a hell of a player that's either younger or just needs a change of scenery or something different. But they will always compare to each other. That's my point. Mitch Marner got traded for player X. And if player X is just a really good player, but he's not a superstar, it's almost unfair to bring that guy in and go, unless you're going, well, he's bringing us cap relief and a different look of the team.
Oh, just go get Draisaitl. He's a free agent in the summer, right?
Boy, and I wonder, because if you talk about Gaudreau, don't they share the agent? Isn't Darren Ferris the agent for both those guys?
I thought
He
it was
is-
Lewis Gross. Isn't Lewis
Yeah, it's
Gross?
Gross.
Oh, Lewis Gross is for
Gross
Johnny. I just
Johnny,
with
yeah.
Ferris, I think he was anyway. I just for Marner, I think I would be sitting there thinking, okay, number one, I'm not going to be the scapegoat. I've got the no move. I negotiated. It's in my deal. I'm not the reason you lost, but I'm not going to be the one that gets dished out here. In a year from now, if I want that change, I can knuckle under for one more year. I need to be in a spot where I put up big numbers going into my UFA.
Right.
Where can I do that? I know I can do that here.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? Tree, Shanny, all you guys. Sorry, I think I'm just going to stay here for one more year and be on the power play and put up my 99 points or 100 if I get more, and then go into free agency and cash in.
Which is totally, he's earned that right and totally good. But then it goes back to what Noodles has said, and I've said too. At the end of the year, none of those guys that you signed long-term and got those deals have ever come out and said they want to win. And what you're alluding to is a guy playing out a contract just to maximize for his own personal gain. Go ahead. It's just sad to me. It's just sad.
I got the sense, and again, actions speak louder, comments like, but McDavid at start of the season sounds like he wanted everybody in there 2 weeks early to mean business. All season long, he's like, I don't care about the scoring race. I'm trying to get, we're trying to get right here. Took them a while. It was ugly. It was ugly.
For the 2 weeks, it was the worst start we've seen there in ages.
It was ugly, considering how focused they were early on. And you could tell the injury lingered with him, and they couldn't get right for a while. And then they got right. But I just look at special players that go, I'm not being denied. Nathan McKinnon just wasn't denied. Like, you watch that guy, he plays violently. He just plays. He plays like he wants to hurt the puck. He doesn't want anybody in his way. Like, he's got this intensity about him. Sidney Crosby has that. Poor Sidney Crosby. They didn't make the playoffs this year. That guy was a man on a mission. Like, I don't know how many times I watched him live. I got a chance to call games, and he just was another level of focused. He almost damn near dragged that team into the playoffs by himself. And, they come up short. But I look at special players, and I'm kind of waiting, for Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner or, these guys to go, sick of it too. We're sick of it. Like, and I'm sure they are. They just don't articulate it. Again, they don't owe me anything. They don't owe anybody. It's just, you kind of wait for these moments where it's like, that's the moment I knew this guy,
We're dragging you out here again.
I'm fine.
Tavares is the captain.
Yes.
He doesn't scream, get on my back, I'm going to pull you through. You got Matthews, unbelievable talent, clearly. Marner, awesome. Nylander, unbelievable. Who's leading? And do they not lead because is Marner better off in a situation where he is the guy?
I don't know.
Do you grow up and actually have to take responsibility for that?
Never seen it, right?
Right? I don't know. I'm curious if you think that because there's four of them that are focal points and they're all talented and Tavares isn't what he was, but he's reinvented himself and he does things differently, works his ass off. I get that part, blah, blah, blah. But there seems to be four of those guys and none of them are leading.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know if there's Is there an alpha in that group? It seems like it's Matthews. It's Matthews' team. You could argue that, and again, in hindsight, you go back, when Matthews signed his extension, Tavares probably could have put his hand up and said, here's the captaincy. I've got 2 years left. You're the face. Like, here you go. That's not a slight on John Tavares. He's a hell of a person, hell of a player, but he's at a different stage in his career than Austin Matthews. So now if you took the captaincy, or he gave the captaincy to Matthews, is it perceived that they've taken it away from him instead of him going to Matthews going, here it is. I'm in the last year of my deal.
But it doesn't matter if the guys know. The media can talk shit, whatever. It doesn't matter if the guys know.
If the guys know, like for me, I've been on teams like Chris Pronger was our captain in St. Louis. We had Al McInnes, Brett Hull, Pierre Turgeon. We had 6 captains on our team, but Chris wore the C at 23 years old. These guys were 30, 31. And, Chris was the figurehead, but when push came to shove, our leadership group made the decisions. Look at that 04 team, Brett. Like, we had Iggy was a captain, but you had a bunch of leaders in that room, you and Reggie and, guys that just, Kipper had a voice, even though he didn't speak much, but he had a voice. Like, there was a leadership group that led, and everybody kind of fell in behind and was like, okay, we know that the group has decided this. Like, it just doesn't have to be one guy.
And Conroy moved the C shortly before that run too, if you remember.
But it was the right move. But Connie jokes and tells that story, was like, Iggy's like, yeah, okay. Like, not even thank you. It's like, yeah, it's about time kind of thing. But
thanks, old man.
Yeah, thanks. But it is, I think that will be story number 15 of the stuff that's going to happen here in Toronto, or should happen, to kind of, and the one thing I will say, this will be Brad Treliving's kind of first year, because he jumped on a moving train. I think a lot of things they handed him and just said, you're signing this guy, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're executing what we had planned already. This might be the first time he gets to shape the team.
And they're a goal away.
Yeah. Well, and this is my whole point.
One shot.
For all this shit, they were down 3-1. Nylander missed 3 games. Matthews was hurt half the series, and Woll, their best goalie, wasn't available in game 7, and it still went to extra time. Like,
they had one stinker in the series.
Yeah. But don't tell me they couldn't have won that thing if they were a little healthier. They absolutely could have. They were a shot away.
But the argument, you're right, 100%. The counter argument is they've got 8 years of history to tell you that they will find a way to lose instead of find a way to win.
Yeah, they don't get the benefit of the doubt.
The market is at here. The market isn't, because if they would have came out, if they won, if they'd been to a conference final 2 years ago, and had some runs and stuff, on Monday, people would have been like, Willie was hurt for 3 games. Austin's not right. Joseph Woll, we don't know. Yeah. Hey, next year, like, that's how close we are. People are like, we've seen this before.
Yeah. Nyes looked good. The Benoit kid on the back end looked like, there's reason to think that, there
is reason to believe or think. The problem is not to believe, because they're up 3-1 against Montreal with everybody in their prime. They found a way to piss that away. There's just been, instead of finding ways to get over the hump, they found a way to get the other way. That's what people will argue with you about.
And a lot of people will say, well, Ovechkin wasn't going to win until he won it, but Ovechkin would win series. They
second round
on. They couldn't get through the big one.
You knew that they were close. They were getting there, right? This team, as it's constructed, hasn't gotten there. So I can make all the excuses that you just laid out, Pinder, because you're right. Willie wasn't right, and Austin wasn't right, and the goalie didn't play, and all of these things. But at the end of the day, they have a track record of going the wrong way instead of the right way. And that's where I think people are at in this market going, you're not going to bring this and roll this back again and say you were 1 goal away. You can't do that. Like, that's it.
Even if you believe it, you can't trot that out.
Definition of insanity.
Yeah.
That's really the definition.
In a series, they outchanced their opponent, and the other guy had a 966. Like, it's not fair, but that's what you get when it's a decade of this shit, right?
But you know what? It was Carey Price outplayed Frederick Anderson and Jack Campbell, and there was Vasilevsky did, like, there's always an excuse. And as we say, I think Daryl said, excuses are for losers. Excuses are for losers.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to make excuses if you win. What you start to do is make excuses when things didn't go right, and you point to, that didn't go well, that didn't go well. You're right. We're all seeing it. But it, unfortunately, I don't think they have the bandwidth for everyone to go, bring it back again, because you're one goal away.
Yeah, no, it's again, I know people get tired of it, and it'll be over soon. This is just a big week, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens on Friday.
A lot of drama there
from a few miles away, just to kind of.
I don't know if the coach survives. I just don't. And I like Sheldon. I just don't think he does.
What about Green?
Yeah, that's stunning to me. I don't get that. None of us got that.
So
team you cover.
I do, and you guys know I'm pretty close with Travis. So I mean, I played junior with him when we were 16 together. Like, I've known him for 35 years, literally 35 years. What was surprising for me? So I will say this, and I swear on my life, a month ago I had heard his name, and then I didn't hear again because I assumed Berube, Todd McLellan, Dean Evison, Gerard Gallant. There was a bunch of names, and Ottawa does their due diligence. Believe me, they've dug into it. So Darren Dreger tweets out, hearing Travis Green is getting the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I text Greeny and I go, you got something to tell me? And he texts me and he goes, I'll call you in a bit. I go, I'm on air. I call him after the show and I go, I got to find out from a tweet. And he goes, yeah, we're kind of, just kind of keeping things under wraps. It's been, and he goes, I don't even know how it got out. And I go, what's been? He goes, well, it's been a process. And, Tommy Fitz in New Jersey said that he was in on coaching there, but gave him opportunity. And so I just, the point being is I had no idea. It floored me too. And the one thing I will say is I did a podcast last night for Ottawa, and I told the guy, because they're not happy in the market, because Greeny's, it doesn't like he has this long-standing, history of winning and all of that.
And there's a ton of guys available
that have that.
But the one thing I will say is I would wait until everything's done. And what I mean by that is they got the coach. They got a lot of work to do to shape around the core of that team. I really like the core of the team, like the spine of it. They're young. They're really good players, but they need veteran players. They need the Chris Tanevs and a Blake Coleman type. They need guys like that to help these kids be more mature on and off the ice. And that's coming. And then you're going to have a better team for the coach to work with. So I know there's rumblings that, they couldn't get it done financially with Berube. I'd be shocked about that. I'd be shocked. Andlauer has nothing but money. Yeah. Like he's not going to nickel and dime and go.
Well, but that's what's so weird is that it feels like something old Ottawa would do, not the new owner. This feels like Pierre Dorion, Eugene Melnick shit, because how in the world can you look at all the candidates and say, this guy's the best? It goes against everything in his track record versus all those guys. He doesn't have a cup ring. He doesn't have a winning record in the regular season. He doesn't have a great track record of not burning out stars. He didn't get re-upped by New Jersey where he just was. If you're telling me that's the best candidate out there, I don't know how you can prove that to us. Like, maybe you're right, but like, what in the world would make him a better coach than Craig Berube? I can't see anything.
Well, you're assuming that Berube would go, right? It is odd.
Yeah, if
assuming because
money, offer him 10. Like, if that's really what you want to do is win. If you're trying to pinch pennies, okay.
But all I would say is to me, there's probably something where if Berube was a choice, it maybe didn't work out. Maybe he chose somewhere else, and we're just going to wait for it to fall. That would be, and who knows? Maybe it's here in Toronto. Maybe Trees already got him. Who knows? We don't know. Something must have shifted or changed, but to me, the one thing Ottawa needs, so Travis does check those boxes, is a former player who's hard but progressive. And to me, that is why Rick Tocchet is successful. You're looking at guys like that the players like, but they also, the accountability has to be there. That's why Dean Evison, Todd McLellan, Craig Berube, Travis Green, you can see a common theme there on the hires. or the guys who they were interviewing. Sorry.
Anything there, Rhett?
Well, I want to keep bugging the Noodler, but the Noodler, I mean, he's got kids and families, and back scratchers, and
Back's
I
all
got
itchy.
stuff to do. I've got the
concerts
pool
and-
guys. The pool guys are messing with the cover out there. We
Oh,
got.
I need to swim.
Have a dip.
I don't even swim in that pool.
You don't go outside.
No, I don't. But I got the pool for the kids and my wife. I don't swim in it. We've been here 5 years, 6 years coming up. I've been in there 3 times.
What?
Yeah, I don't swim.
No.
I don't know what I do. I just hang out.
You just work all the time. You're insane.
Exactly. I do have to work late tonight because 10:20 is the drop of the puck for the Edmonton.
Oh, see, now
get
we
to
know
it.
why he's all bent
Yeah.
out of shape. There.
I'm with you,
Alberta
Noodler.
suddenly cares about Eastern time. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. You're a good boy, Jamie. Thank you, pal. We'll talk to
All
you
right,
in a week.
guys. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Jamie McLennan joining us. You know what? For McLeod Law, let's do this time around. Little McLeod Law there for you. Of course, we tell you about it. It's business, personal, whatever it is. It's Calgary people helping Calgary people, the very best, with a common goal, helping clients meet their needs. They're proud of their Calgary roots, big part of their long-standing client relationships. They get this city, the people in it, and the way things work. McLeod-law.com. Great people and the best at what they do. I guess just to kind of, did you have it? So what were you going to go with there, Retro? Anything else? Travis Green, just the hire there.
There's lots. I mean, there's lots going on around the league, but with Travis Green, the Noodles is very honest, and he wouldn't skirt the question. But my question would be, do players like him? Because I got the sense that the guys in Vancouver did not like.
And if they liked him so much in New Jersey, why isn't he there?
Right? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
he's his friend, and there would be attributes that Green has, and he does have experience, and he checks some boxes. I don't think it's the right hire. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
And he would, he might not even argue it, but he might make points that support the hiring. Maybe they talked to all those other 4 or 5 guys that we just mentioned, Everson, McLennan, Gallant. Maybe they talked to all of them, and they're like, I don't want to go to Ottawa.
well, and that's again, just to
weird.
play devil's advocate. That's kind of what I was going to say. If you're Ottawa, McLellan, Gallant, those guys, they've been out there for a while now. I'm guessing you've talked to all of them. But if you're Todd McLellan, are you signing with Ottawa today?
If you offer him 6 or
Not
7,
with
you
all
probably
those
can't
jobs
say no.
available. No,
And who's paying their coach $7 million?
Well, I just like
I know you're using, if you want to pay him 10, pay him 10. I mean, within reason, you need a coach that wants to be there, that you believe in, that you think is a good fit. And I'm guessing that some of those guys said, no, I'm good. I'm still getting paid on my contract. My contract has yet to kick in, so I have lots of time. I don't need to go to Ottawa today because they're so close. This isn't Knobloch going to Edmonton.
and it's Ottawa.
It's Ottawa.
And
yeah,
it's
it's
shitty
and I
rink
guess
in
it
the middle of
underlines
nowhere.
2 things. Like, it's still, I don't care how wealthy the new owner is, it's still going to be Ottawa, I guess. Like, until you get a new rink done that's not in Canada. It's a really enticing young core, but there's clearly issues with it. And look, he could do a great job there. I just have a tough time saying that was the best candidate available in the whole universe of coaching hockey. That's right.
Well, what did they say? They said they wanted someone who has experience. He's been behind a bench. Yeah, look, I mean,
the guy just hasn't won anything or accomplished anything at the NHL level. That's all. So maybe he will. Hasn't yet.
It went sideways pretty quick, right? Because he was respected, AHL. This guy's coming. It's all of this, but then went to Vancouver.
5 years in Vancouver.
Pissed everyone off immediately.
5
Do you not
seasons in
remember the
Vancouver.
video of those guys laying on the ice? Guys don't show up at training camp out of shape. If they do, there's 1 or 2.
That's
He
not a good
begged
record,
it.
fellas.
He
Yeah, that's-
begged those guys to the point of puking. Like it's not, what the fuck are we doing? Sorry, I got to do a push-up, but what are we talking about?
Yeah.
These guys show up nowadays. They're elite level, and you're gonna put them through the ringer to prove a point. Now you can learn from it too. That was my next question. Do you think that there's you
He's a
come
better
in, you
coach
want to
than he
make a
was,
statement?
for sure.
Dallas Aikens said that. And I needed to be different, but Dallas Aikens was the up and coming coaching guru for a while. It has not turned out for Dallas Aikens.
Similar trajectory, right? They were both guys that were very successful at the American League level, or perceived to be sexy coaching candidates, and flopped hard in their first spots and have bounced around a bit to no success any later.
And you look at Ed Akins and how he came into Edmonton, there was a real swagger that he brought with him, right?
He was the Marlies head coach. He was, the media is not going to be eating coffee and donuts anymore. We'll get the veggies out. You guys got to, it's like,
it was
wow.
At this, look at my big brain.
Yeah.
Look how smart I am. There was a very condescending kind of a feel almost from the jump. And I don't know if that's what Green had in Vancouver.
No,
I just wonder if guys change. If it's like, you know what, I went in there, I was going to, I had to be hard nosed.
But back to Pinder's point, 4 years.
Yeah.
That's the other
4.5
thing. 4 years. Well,
now was the
where's the
roster
gun?
good enough to be better with a different coach? I don't know.
Where's the gun? So you couldn't give that guy a 2 or 3 year deal, even 1 year less?
Yeah, we're talking about. Sorry, yeah, Rhett's talking about the new contract. That also is
yeah.
insane to me that he'd have the leverage with that record we just saw to say I need a 4th year. Or it's not getting done. Now maybe they keep the AAV lower or whatever, but like, just if we sat here and made a list, how many names would we get through, the 3 of us, before we got to Travis Green?
Jay McKee
12?
is higher on the list
15?
for me.
20?
I'd be looking at other guys that didn't have experience behind the bench.
Yes, you'd take the up and coming guy because
Let's
this
take
guy
a younger
once was
guy.
that, but has failed.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's absolutely got to have learned from his experiences, but he was just in New Jersey and he's not there now.
It'll be a big.
They had months to sign him.
It'll be a big fucking helping of Crow when they have home ice in the first round next year.
Well, and look,
not
it's
against
talented
it.
enough.
Jack Adams finalist or something like that.
Everyone thought they would have been on the bubble this year, and there's so much talent on that roster. Something's not right. But then again, it's like, I guess when you give Eunice Corpusalo that deal as well, they still kind of feel like Otto, even though Melnick and Dorian are gone.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Janky.
So now it's Seattle, San Jose, Winnipeg, LA, and New Jersey, correct? Those are 5 teams that need a coach. I don't know what they're doing with Hiller. It sounded like he was going to be in the final
interim, right?
mix with Rob Blake. He had said he was still going to interview for the job, sort of a thing. Winnipeg will just be starting. The thing is with those now, Seattle's maybe different. New Jersey's a little LA, but to go into San Jose, you're not winning anytime soon, and you're probably going to be gunned before anything good happens. And in Winnipeg, you got to want to go to Winnipeg and deal. It was a good team, but you got blown right out and you have some issues. There's no real sweet spot right there.
Jersey might be, but that's because they're young and they were a playoff team 2 years ago.
Like LA got blown out. New Jersey didn't make the playoffs. It's not like you're strapping a rocket to your back if you go into any of those spots, I don't think. Anyway. Wow, poor Travis Green.
Taking some direct hits.
Right in the friggin'. And sorry about the Leaf talk, everybody. Sorry. It'll be over soon. It's too.
What do you think? Firing the coach Friday? Friday firing?
Have to.
It feels like it, right?
Have to.
Poor bastard. Yeah.
Well, a couple things. Even if you think he's good, you're going to subject your organization and your job. I mean, Tree just got there, so it's not really his job, but you're going to allow it to happen again.
But they just signed him again.
In August, they gave him a 2-year extension that kicks in the fall.
Jesus.
But they paid Babs to be not there for like 4 or 5 years.
The thing about the Leafs is they don't give a shit
so
about
much
the
fucking
money.
money.
The money, what difference does it make? They make.
But if anything, you look back. Don't give. Sorry, I don't want to be a lame duck coach. Then don't be a lame duck coach. You're not Scotty friggin' Bowman.
Yeah, you can.
That would have been a signal to the coach, to the team, to everybody.
I think
There's
that's
no free lunch here.
Yes, I think that's an important.
What have you done to earn this extension yearly? Show me this pile of
done?
playoff series wins.
Yeah. And they got all the money in the world if they want to pay this contract out. But then if you fire, I don't know. And you talked about it, Red, with Marner, and I think he's a great player. He's got world-class skill. But as limited viewings, I feel Austin Matthews, he's got a bit of that dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
I think even Willie Nylander, I think he's got some of that in him too. We saw he scored big goals in playoffs in a limited amount. Tavares is whatever he is. I just don't think Marner is that guy that can go to another team and be the guy, which makes it hard. I think he's got to go somewhere.
You're 100-point guy. You are the guy.
I know. And what's weird with all those guys, it was they couldn't score. They got Swayman. They got goalied again. I don't know what you do. And So if you're Craig Berube, because that kind of seems to be the rumor, is that the challenge that you want if you're Craig Berube? I'm going to go into Toronto and make that team work.
100%.
Well, you're going to be one of the highest paid coaches in the league, if not the.
Have everything, and when you have success, you are immortalized for.
It's the allure that Toronto is. It's also the shit that Toronto is.
And go
if
through
you
the
could ever
list.
get over the hump there, you're a god.
And go through the list of teams.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Maybe LA. I don't know. Sunshine. The thing is, that's what the Babcock thing was. Now Babcock, great resume. He's going to go in Toronto. He's going to be the one that's tied to this team that's going to take them to the promised land. He'll be immortalized.
That's where the
I never believed that Babcock was that. I don't think Babcock was that good or that bad a coach. Is my take on Babcock.
Yeah, he seemed to thrive in areas where there was a little bit of a talent deficiency, and he could structure some wins out of a group.
He did in
Anaheim.
But then he thrived on teams that were so talented he didn't have to coach.
Well, and he only got one cup with Detroit, right? So that's not unreal given the roster he had.
What about those gold medals with Canada, though?
Well,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
it's not like a head of broccoli couldn't have coached those teams to a gold.
No.
Delicious. Just delicious.
But when the Leafs were bad, that's when he showed up, and they structured their way in and lost to Washington.
He also showed up because he wanted the
spotlight.
Good on him for this. He wanted to get the coaching fraternity elevated into the upper contractually. He did take that on. If you're a coach in the NHL,
published salaries,
it
all
absolutely helped Babcock.
Yeah,
Mike Babcock,
because
Mike Babcock needs to help things. But he did try. Part of his thing was I'm gonna make more so that everyone else can make more. Why are we only making? We got coaches in the NFL and the NBA or whatever major league sports, and we're making peanuts compared to these guys.
Now with Berube, if you take away the miracle run in St. Louis where they are last and then go all the way to the Cup, is there more shine on him than there should be?
Yes, there is, for sure. And that was a team that was good. But the thing about it is he got his group to rally. Right?
Yeah,
like
you consider where they were when they were, that's maybe the most improbable cup we've seen in the last 10 years.
And that's not all on Berube.
Right.
But
no, the goalie got
his guys to rally. And what you don't hear is that guys dislike him so much. Like I have not heard much of that talk.
No.
What was it? Kyrou was happy he was gone. Was that what?
And then immediately took it back. I don't know. Like,
I mean, if you're universally loved by your team, chances are there's not been a lot of fucking winning going on. Chances are. So,
but I don't know. Think that there might not be a more well-respected guy. If Joel Quenneville's not allowed to come back and coach, that's Berube is the most respected guy available.
Yeah.
Buffalo Sabres. Look, who did they just hire?
Yeah.
Has he ever won?
No.
Never won. 30 frickin' years coaching in the NHL, never won. And it's not a shot. But when you talk to Berube, I think it's with all coaches. We just talked about Daryl Sutter. How long did he coach before he won a cup?
In LA, yeah.
20, 25, like a long effing time.
Chicago, San Jose, Calgary, finally in LA.
There's coaches that were out there. Brian Murray never won a Stanley Cup.
Lindy Ruff is now again, it's when you hang around a long time, I guess, and it's a testament to him. 5th all time in coaching victories behind Maurice Trotz, Quenneville, and Scotty Bowman. 854, 679.
Paul Maurice has not won a cup.
Has not won a cup.
Yeah, there's your guy that's going to have the most games coached when it's all said and done.
Trotz got one. Quenneville has a few, and so does Scotty, as I recall. So.
Quenneville looking good again this year. Sorry, not Quenneville. New York Rangers. Why am I blanking hard? Laviolette.
Yeah. If you're, and this would be a question, again, I don't know why I'm captivated by it. If you were to talk to agents, I wonder, truth serum, couple beers, where would Toronto be on guys' lists of, don't really, if you aren't born in Ontario or grew up a Leafs fan,
just another team.
I think it's different, totally different. It has to be the right person for that.
I just 100% disagree.
There's just so much pressure in the market. You can't live a normal life. You can live a normal life in a lot of markets. That's not for everyone. You have to be cut a certain way. Like there's guys that'll put Toronto on the no move list. And there's other guys that'll be like, I'll go play there for 800 grand. Because if it ever happened, that would be the ultimate. That's sort of what I'm speaking to.
Because I just wonder if you're not from there
pressure.
And you're not tied to the mystique of being a Leaf. It's just another team that's never won. It'd be great if you win, but there's tax and I can make money anywhere and the winters are cold and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not saying
how
that
attractive it is.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's sexy to go play there. It's just another team. I don't think it's here or there. I don't think it's Montreal. I think they're way more protected than Montreal.
It's the largest hockey market in the world, and they
doesn't matter if it's the largest. Like, I get what you're saying, but just because it's big doesn't mean they're hard on the players. There's this perception, and Noodles will talk about it, and guys that are there. There's this perception that the media is just miserable to these guys, and it's a bullshit perception. The media in Toronto is soft on guys.
So when it was Mitch Marner, the invisible man on the cover of the paper, you think that's normal in every market?
I don't think it's that hard. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think you're soft if you can't handle it.
I agree, but I think there are a lot of guys in the league that would say that's not for me. I'm not going there.
Yeah, I think there was, and I honestly think it's changed just because how the media has changed. It's the Toronto Sun. That's one newspaper. I think the reporters are way softer. All the reporters are fans now. When you go to any of these markets, there are people probably that lived there and grew up. Who is the ruthless reporter in Toronto?
Simmons.
Does he even go? Does he write anymore?
He wrote a mostly fabricated piece about Phil Kessel putting a hot dog vendor.
Yeah, so that was what 8 years ago.
One of the most disrespectful reporters going.
Personal shot that would not
today
happen
when you
anywhere
go into
else.
Yeah, but again, so
That's
today, 2024, Ryan, when you go into the locker room, who's going to crush you?
Simmons. Just like he put Marner on the cover. What city as big as Toronto has hockey on the front page?
New York?
No.
Yep,
for sure.
It's Jets, it's Giants, it's
you
Knicks.
Bullshit. Go
it's
read
the fourth or fifth
Rangers.
team.
You think the Rangers aren't on the fucking front page?
Well, okay. They can be, but it's not the most popular team in New York. It just isn't. Sorry. So the reason why I think the market size matters, Rhett, is because there's no place that has that many people that hockey's their favorite sport. Like there's New York. Yeah, that's a passionate fan base. There's more hockey fans in Toronto by a mile. And if the Knicks are in the playoffs and the Rangers are, and they're comparable, you know who's getting center stage.
You're talking out your ass.
I'm not. And the Knicks are a way bigger brand than the fucking Rangers. Come on.
You've not been to New York. I'm not saying
I have been to New York. I've been to a Rangers game.
Suggest that
like what are you talking about?
Toronto is like this no other market. Like I just don't buy it.
What don't you buy about it?
That Toronto is so hard. I think you get a lot of attention, but this is not the same scrutiny as it used to be.
Can I just say this? It doesn't matter if the market is bigger. Is like I don't look at the newspaper in Calgary, but back when I was playing, were the Flames on the front page?
Of course, there's nothing.
So what difference does it make if there's 4 million people reading it or 1 million?
Well, because all the scathing writers in Calgary end up in Toronto if they can carve people. That's where Simmons started.
But again, you've named one.
Well, because that's the hitman there. Like,
but everyone knows he's a hitman, so he's disrespected and disregarded.
James Myrtle had public battles with Brian Burke.
What about Brooksy in New York? It doesn't matter if there's 4 million fans or 1 million fans. If the paper has you on the front page, it's the same. You're saying it's the same thing.
No, I'm just like there's no other place where hockey means as much as this Toronto, in my opinion, in terms of just.
In Edmonton, the people in Edmonton don't take
they care as much. There's
the
1 million of them, not 6 in the area.
That's my point. It doesn't matter.
Where would
You're not interacting with.
So how many media outlets would there be in Edmonton versus Toronto? That's a comparable number or not?
But
did you see the scrums in the exit meetings? There's like 20 plus guys in there.
Yeah, but when you leave,
what do I have to listen as a player? I have to listen to every media outlet.
No. You would get interviewed, and it wouldn't be 2 people like in Florida, or 5 in Chicago, or 6 or 7 in Edmonton or Calgary. It'd be 25 in Toronto.
Interviews even work. They don't walk into the room anymore and just pick out of the crowd. The people that the PR guys grab the 3 guys that are going to talk that day and go, here you go, media. You can talk to these guys today. It's not
I understand.
I think it's changed. I really do. I don't think that
I'm
it's
not
the
saying
same
it
as it
hasn't
used to
changed.
be. And I think it would be as hard or harder to disappear in Edmonton if you're a star that's struggling as it would be in Toronto. And yeah, there's more media, but you go to Montreal, there's 2 medias there. I think it would be as hard or harder to be a Montreal Canadian. I don't know. I guess the original point I had was, unless you grew up there, I can't imagine what kind of desire there would be to be there.
Why did Babs go there? He's not from there.
money.
So that's another reason no one pays as
But
much
as a
as
player,
they do.
But as a player,
As anything. I mean, we started here talking about coaching, didn't we?
not as anything. If you get the same money somewhere else, what is it about Toronto? Are they that close to a cup? Do you care about what it's going to mean to the GTA?
No. My point is we started talking about coaching here. We didn't start about talking about players going to Toronto.
No,
So,
I brought up if you were going to talk to agents about players.
okay.
That was my point.
Would it be a hot spot the team guys want to go to? And I said, I think it's just another team. And you were like, I don't think guys want to go as much. And
I think there's some guys that would have on their no-flyer list just because of the pressure. That's all.
I don't think.
And look, maybe there are.
I think it's because of the taxes and the size of the city and the fact that it's in Canada.
Yeah, those would be factors. Sure. My only thing is there might be places that are difficult to play in. There's certainly lots of them. My belief is that Toronto's the hardest, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that's a crazy take.
I think it goes to expectations, and you could be right that they're always expecting to win, I guess, in Toronto. But I just think that anyway, I think the players should want to win. I wanted to bring this up, and we're going to have a great conversation about this. The Calgary Flames, drafted 9th overall. With the history of the last few years, do you have any concerns or beliefs that you should be targeting Canadian kids?
No.
Why?
I don't think any of your college kids are Adam Fox risks because they'll be too good for college to play I got 4 years.
So then you get your rookie contract or 5 or 6 years out of them, but really that's
you probably get your 5 to 7 years like you did Tkachuk, and then you're hopefully a winning team, and I don't worry about Americans staying in Calgary when the team's winning. I mean, we haven't really seen that. What we see is people want to leave when they're not good.
Well, but Gaudreau scored Game 7 overtime. They were winning. They lost Edmonton. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, that was also a time where we said that group can't win. They'll never win anything. It was the first time they got out of round 1 since 15. That's not. You want to build something better than the Gaudreau era, don't you?
I mean, you do
make the playoffs every other year.
So you don't think there's any thoughts to that at all? Because I would argue, I would say you're wrong.
It might be a tiebreaker, but so are you afraid of Russians staying in Russia? Are you afraid of Americans? Are you afraid of Swedes? What are you afraid of? Talk me through.
I'm mostly afraid of Americans.
Okay. So if Zeev Buium as defenseman at DU wins a national championship, 50 points as a freshman, you're worried that in 2031 or 2 he might want to leave?
Sure. I mean,
I think you'll be able to trade Zeev Buium and get a good return if he's a good player. And that it's probably
this is one of those things that you're not going to take with any credence. Like you're just not going to.
Yeah, you can tell that it's
right. Like I'm
an idiot for thinking it.
No, I think it's a good question to ask. It's just that, a lot of teams were scared of Russians for a long, long time, and it's proven not to be as big of an issue as people were afraid of. I mean, everyone was so worried about Matt Coronado being drafted. He's American. It's like, yeah, he signed immediately.
Yeah, but
the moment he was ready.
Doesn't mean he's going to stay here when you need him.
No, it doesn't. But if he's a good player, you can move him.
Did you think that Treliving's and Conroy's last couple of years were what you envision a NHL GM having to deal with?
And it's not a Calgary thing, but when you talk to agents, there are guys that just don't want to come to Canada. They're just
sure. And so did the Tkachuk deal kill this team? That's what I'll ask you.
Would you rather have Tkachuk or would you rather have had to trade him?
You had Tkachuk, you had a top line in the NHL, and you had none of them now. None, Ryan. None.
Yeah.
You're downplaying all of this and that it's
Well, so letting Johnny in his final year not have a contract and walk to UFA, that's the mistake in my mind. Not getting a top pairing defenseman and a 115-point player for Florida. Like the deal, I still don't think is a bad deal for Calgary. The extension,
you're not going to make that deal.
Are more of the issue.
You're not going into that summer talking to Florida about Tkachuk and go, hey, well, it's irrelevant. You don't want to trade Tkachuk. You're forced into it.
And I feel like I don't want it to be a piling on here, but they knew Tkachuk was going to be leaving when they signed the deal prior, which is why it was structured for him to be a $9 million player in his final year and then going UFA, because he was going to get to UFA as quickly as possible and leave.
So you think if Gaudreau stays, Tkachuk's gone anyway?
I think Tkachuk, he was leaving. I do. I really do. And it's not a shot. Hey, he's not from here. He had no ties to Calgary. It was a team. He came, they paid him well. He played well, but he's an American guy, wants to play in America. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of them. Noah Hannafin was quietly that guy too, remember? Turned down $60 million.
No, the team's no good. I just don't think that's a good comp. Like, of course you don't want to stay for 8 years. They're starting to rebuild.
My answer, if you were to ask it to me, I think that it is a concern, but I don't know to what end
you can do anything.
Would you take a lesser player for a passport?
Like, where do you, especially with a higher
pick? Topic of conversation, and it's proved out. I wonder how much stock they put into it, and you can ignore it all you want. But
I'm not ignoring it. I just think it's minimal.
We're all talking about all these guys are trying to get to cities and states where the tax is no good. Well, not only are Americans wanting to go to those states, but they also don't want to come to Canada. So it's best city and state for taxes, number one, competitive, number two, and they get competitive because they get the players because they want to fucking stay there, right? Like that's part of it. Vegas is the benefit of being Vegas is that you can keep those guys for cheaper. Tampa Bay, same thing. Like we can't just say that it's nothing. So
it's definitely not nothing.
They see this, they want that first. Secondly, well, I'd rather be in the States no matter what, as opposed to Canada. Like there is a trickle down to it. Like, and you know what? Green might be a great example.
Maybe
Coaches might not want to go to Ottawa.
Yeah, maybe. I'd love to see the salary on Green. Because it's like if you were like, we need a top flight coach, and then you're like paying him $2, it's like that's not a top flight coach. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. And look, like I just have a tough time with people saying Americans don't want to play here. And it's like, I think the order you would have been isn't what you said. I think you would have competitive to win a cup, number one, and then your money second in terms of taxes. Because you had it the opposite order. And when this team was competitive, they got a top of the market. Jacob Markstrom was not Canadian. They got a top of the market Chris Tanev, who's from Ontario, could have gone to the States, could have gone to better tax climates. They had a top of the market Blake Coleman, who just won 2 Stanley Cups and is an American and could have chosen to live in a tax
and paid him the most. All those guys got paid the most.
So my point is that if you're a place that can win, and they're not going to say no to you. So, like, okay, do you have to spend an extra $1 million on?
You have to build your winning window, okay?
Yes,
but they did that, and all those guys fucking left.
You've said it before. The Bennett Monahan careers exploding on them was a bigger part of that than I think we like to talk about. Like who was their second line center when Johnny was here in round 2?
They won the first round. They got beaten by Edmonton. The projection was that they were trying to get better. You're passing it off as if these guys were shit.
No, they made it every other year, and they got to round 2 once. Those are the facts. Like, what was it? Johnny was 2015, his first full year. They make it that year. They win the conference once. They win the division once. They miss a few times.
So they were so shitty, guys wanted out of here, is your take?
No, my take is that they were a very middle of the pack team over the course of Johnny's tenure here.
They won the division. They win the division or the conference?
They won the conference.
They were middle of the pack team that won the division.
And they also missed the playoffs half the years.
The other thing is, too, when a lot of these agents are negotiating contracts, everybody wants a no move. And if they don't get a no move, then you get a modified. Then you 5-team, 10-team, 8-team, or whatever. And some of those times, players, if you got an 8-team, you can get to your 4 or 5 pretty quick, and then you fill up the list because you have 8 teams. And just sometimes Calgary gets put on that list. I just know from talking to GMs and AGMs in this town for a while, it was hard to get anything done on July 1 or before the deadline or in general, because just a lot of times either players had Calgary or Canada on their list. And whether they were, I am never going to Canada, or if it was just, well, pick 8 teams for your list. Okay, well, Columbus, Winnipeg, whatever, Calgary. They made it on the list a lot of times.
Yeah. And I would expect they'll be on a lot of lists until they're a contender again.
It's not the only thing, though.
I'm not saying
the COVID, the whole COVID thing in many ways, right?
Yeah. And look, JT Miller was going to leave Canada because of COVID. He's re-signed and is still there because we're through it. It doesn't mean everyone's changed, but the further away you get from COVID, the less you're worried about that situation again.
And the other thing, it's not a blanket thing. Some guys don't give a shit. They're happy to be in Canada. They're happy to play wherever. And some guys,
some guys love the city, right? Like lots of guys retire here that didn't play here. There's a lot of pros about Calgary. It's not the sexiest market, but I think Chris Tanev will have an appetite to come back here, even though this team's not great. I think there'll be conversations July 1 between Chris Tanev and the Flames if he's a free agent.
Let's move on, because we have all summer to do this, or at least the next couple months. Pinder Report?
I got to piss. Can we do that first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Not buying it. And which I guess it's true because it's not a blanket statement.
It's not 100%. But there's been a lot of times. So what about so-and-so? Any chance
if you were
he's not coming?
You were Johnny somebody, and you were a very talented player, and you had the option of going anywhere. Where are we on the list? Even if, where are we 3 years ago on the list? And take COVID out of it. Where are we in 2010 or 2007? A couple years removed from a Stanley Cup final run.
Yeah, higher.
Where are we signing that's
after the 04 run? It was because everybody had watched the Red Mile and the building was electric, and Daryl behind the bench and Kipper in net and Iginla. There was, it was far more sexy a place.
And who'd we get?
Well, Amante and McCarty, right? Zeus. Did Zeus come in? I'm trying to think of who it was.
Tony Amante.
Yeah.
Bones. And then Owen Nolan.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking shots. And Daryl focused on veteran guys, which was the opposite of what he should have done. It's never going to be. And I do think you have to at least recognize and know who you're talking to. Because, again, not a blanket statement, but you better. Tkachuk, we loved Tkachuk. They should be here forever. Johnny Gaudreau's going to the rafters and chose to leave.
Yeah.
I think you have to have the conversation about or understand the character of the player, I guess, that you're picking. And you should.
Yeah, I'm just catching the tail end of it. That's tough too, right? Because you sat down with Adam Fox and he said all the right things for 2 years, right? And then all of a sudden, ping, everything changed.
Turns elite, and now you can kind of pick your spot.
Now I'm a year away from free agency, and I'm not going to sign, and I'd actually like to be a Ranger.
Yeah. This is a good one from Piker. What's the sales pitch to come to Calgary and join the Flames? Put yourself in the war room with Conroy and Iggy
right now
on June 25th as you're preparing.
If they're in the war room trying to sign guys, I'm going to have to go down there and cut.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the question. Is this the draft or is this free agency? Because free agency, shut the hell up. Don't say anything.
Yeah, free agency.
Bottom out for a year or two here.
Yeah. But I know even at the draft, there have been some kids that really, they were first round caliber players.
Kids.
I'm trying to remember, what was his name? Rocco Grimaldi.
Oh, yeah.
Rocco Grimaldi came in for his meeting, sat down. I'm not coming. I don't want to play in Canada. All right. Thanks for coming in. Now, he didn't turn into a huge NHL player, but at 17 years of age, to have that kind of balls, I guess. I don't know. But you also know that you have some other teams that you're going to get drafted. I don't know. I don't know what the image of playing in Canada
Well,
is.
and Ryan
for
made a good point.
a lot of those
saying,
kids.
Well, what are you going to do
if you get drafted? Yeah, not show
No,
up.
well, not what's the kid. What are you going to do as a team? Take the 20th most talented player
you can't
at
take
number
the lesser
7?
player out of fear.
I know. Maybe in rounds 4 and 5 and 6, it's like, well, we know that kid. Or the
But
parents,
those are the
or
guys that have
whatever.
no leverage anyway.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. The players don't have our leverage until they're into ARB. And so you've got that sort of like 5-year. And again, if guys are great, you can trade them and get value, especially at that point, because they're not into the monster money yet. Like, it's not like dealing a 28-year-old Marner making 10.9 in the last year of his deal. Right?
That feels
But what
like
hurts, and you brought it up yesterday, Kachuk where you got him is great value. Fox where you got him is unbelievable
Huge.
value. Gaudreau where you got him, unbelievable pick.
Huge. Yeah.
Imagine this, like, you're going to win more when you have Kachuk, Gaudreau, when those guys, Adam Fox in the blue line.
The other thing with Kachuk that we don't talk about enough, they gave him that 3-year deal. And you noted it. The last year was 9, which said, hey, I'm going to get a monster raise in my next deal. They could have given him 7 that summer, but they didn't have the cap space because 7 would have come with a bigger number, and they were capped out with, paying too much to the bottom half of the roster. If you're like, this all has to be in sync. If you can see this stuff coming years out when your team has the leverage, you can avoid it or at least be positioned to succeed. And allowing Gaudreau to get into his final year without either having a deal for him or a contract was a huge blunder. And whether that did or didn't impact the Kachuk thing or how much it did or didn't, we don't know.
But at the same time, and I'm not trying to play defense, but if we would have said that summer going into Gaudreau's final year, because remember, he was the guy who couldn't win, that couldn't put it up in the playoffs. If we said, you got to give this guy $10 million a year times 8 right now, no one would have said that's the move.
No, and he hadn't earned that money. He was probably a 7, low
Even
8s
if you would have
guy.
committed big dollars over a long-term deal, there'd have been everybody would have been saying, how can you commit to this guy? It's like if you're going to sign Marner in Toronto. Right now, Marner's the guy. He's highly skilled, but he can't help you win.
So let me rephrase that then. At the deadline, you trade or you sign. And I think Connie's basically said as much as an introductory press conference. We can't allow assets to walk for nothing.
What would you have done that year? You're in a playoff spot.
Well, it sounded like that fall they were close on an extension, and the number the team floated to Johnny was not what he thought, and he was a little ticked off at it. And then you are first in your division. You have a great year. I think you have to say, like, it's not an easy decision, but I mean, the closer you get to it, the more it makes, okay, I understand what Tree did, but just a general policy of like, let's get this shit sorted ahead of time. That you had that whole offseason before. It was a tough year to evaluate. They had a rough year the year before, but
I just don't know how you're going to trade Gaudreau at the deadline when you're a playoff team.
Yeah, I know. But again, if you don't let assets turn to zeros, you don't miss, superstar talented players.
Is there a scenario, because we all look at it now as it was like it's a lost situation, where Gaudreau would be as disappointing after 2 years in Calgary as he has been in Columbus, and that would be a horrendous signing? Like, I know they took that money and gave it to Huberdeau anyway, but what
exactly? Yeah, I was going to say you kind of live in it with a different name bar here.
Yeah, but is Gaudreau having the same sort of underwhelming time here if he stays? I
think that Gaudreau, Kachuk, it's worked out for. He's been great, right? Yeah. But I think that Lindholm got a pout on, and anyway, that doesn't matter. Those guys had a chemistry that I don't think they were going to have that big of a drop off.
I agree.
Weren't going to be.
Huberdeau's universe was flipped upside down. Entirely new team, new line mates. If Johnny's here, it's status quo. It's a guy he knows how to play with, and maybe not. There's a Kachuk. We don't know. Maybe Kachuk says, "Okay, I'm still not long for this market, but I'll sign on a shorter thing, like a 3 years, $30 million by the short term." Who knows? Jeez, that was a tact I always thought they should have tried with him, but it never did.
And you know what? Just going through game notes and different things, because with Florida now in back-to-back playoffs, It's Barkov has done this. Last time someone did that was Jonathan Huberdeau back in this.
Yeah.
And the last time somebody had this kind of offensive output, it was Huberdeau. And this year, Huberdeau was a very good player for the Florida Panthers for quite a while.
5 seasons, point per game in a row before he left.
He was a
He
very
looks nothing like that.
very
Here.
good player in Florida for a extended period of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll throw one of these in right here.
God damn it.
Maybe one.
Yeah, that's probably appropriate.
Yeah, maybe one of those. And then I'll do this because it's time for the Pinder Report. Holy smokes! Look at the time.
Hi.
Seriously.
Doing a sports show today. What the age? It's the CRV. We've seen it with Calgary. It's hot. It's cold. It's snowing. It's dry. It's raining. CRV, it's ready for you no matter what. It's perfect for our city. Sits atop the pack in the compact SUV field. You can feel confident behind the wheel of your Honda CRV. A plethora of driver safety features come standard. You can see one, take one for a ride, and maybe even purchase one at Village Honda, your dealership for life in the Northwest Auto Mall. And Village Honda presents the Pinder Report.
Fellas, let's go to the action yesterday as the NHL's draft lottery occurred in Toronto.
So is that what that was the math going into it, right? That was how that was.
This was the math going in, and this was the math coming out.
There it is. All right.
Nobody moved, but we sure did talk for 90 minutes on the YouTube channel. Not a lot about percentages and moving up and down per se, but really more familiarizing ourselves with who's going to be around. Certainly at 1, 2, and 3. And then when we knew the Flames were at 9 rather early in the program, in that range, what are the pros, cons, risks?
It's a top 10 pick. It's a top 10 pick.
It sure is.
You know, it didn't slide to 10 or 11.
I heard it's a top 9 pick.
They're into the top 10. That's where you can get very good players.
Yeah, and as we noted, and as we heard from Stephen Ellis, and as Bob McKenzie talked about, there is not a lot of consensus between 2 and 9. You might get your second or third favorite player at number 9. Now, you might get your 9th, but I mean, it's just that much lack of unity in terms of how these guys are viewed by NHL teams. So we'll see. Here's Stephen Ellis's top 10 of dailyfaceoff.com. This is a post-World U18s. We floated this list yesterday. This is the better looking version. Obviously, Celebrini's at 1. Demidov, the kid playing in the Russian Junior League, is a sensational winger. He's at 2. Do Chicago pair him with Bedard? Top defenseman off the board could be Levshunov, the Belarusian playing at Michigan State. And then there's Ziv Buyam, who we talked about, and he's as high as 3 and as low as double digits around draft boards. Interesting. Yzerman, huge variance there. Dean, we had Bob McKenzie had him at 13. Probably the best pure finisher of this draft class in terms of goal scoring. Other defenseman from the O in Perrick, Dickinson as well. Catton, is he a winger? Is he a center? Well, he had 50-some goals and 110-plus points as a 17-year-old in the Western League. And then, yes, at 11, the greatest player in franchise history, Son. Not to mention the 6'7" Russian defender. There's something for everyone in here, boys.
Something for everyone. Soleyev, monster. As high as 2 on a lot of lists.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there you see him at double digits in some. It really doesn't have a huge offensive upside, but you just don't see a lot of 17-year-old 6'7" players to begin with, never mind playing in the second best league in the world.
Chara, maybe. It could be a Zdeno Chara right there.
I'd take that.
Yeah, if it's Chara, you take him at 1. You don't even worry.
Over Celebrini?
If you knew he was Chara, I don't think anyone knows he's Chara, but yeah, like Celebrini is clearly a safer pick. But yeah, you're right. If he turns into that type of player, if there's some nasty and he's already 210 at 17, like he probably plays at 225. Jeez.
Oh, at least he's 6'7",
right? Like,
he's a wee babe.
But then you can get into the fears. Never mind the Americans. What about when's his contract up? Is he going to stay in Russia? What if he doesn't want to come over?
Lots of Russians here. They'd be happy to come over.
There's all of a sudden a lot of Russians. Connie's not afraid.
And Connie loves Russian D-men. Oh.
And Belarusian D-men, yes.
Just excited.
Soviet bloc defenseman. Come meet Grushnikov and Miramanov and
Solovyov.
Uh-oh. Let's go to our boy John Buchigra, who did a no-no, I think, yesterday, Dean. Either that or he did a promo. I'm not sure which. We've arrived. And then, whoops, there's a draft board that's up. So for a few hours, people were sure this was rigged. The guy that just spent $1.2 billion on a franchise saw his team move up to second. And then rather than really explain things properly, he just deleted said tweet, which only added fuel to the fire.
Leave it up and just giggle.
Didn't happen that way.
It's too bad.
Any takeaways here, Dean, or is all PR good PR?
I think it would have been easy just to say they're testing the digital board.
Guys, we're doing a dress rehearsal.
Would have just been easy to probably, because you're right, deleting it adds fuel
Makes
to the
it worse.
fire. But also, we're all crazy. Quiet Riot, I think, said it best.
Yeah, it is quite funny
Someone feel the noise?
that I feel like a very, very large percentage of NHL fans actually in their hearts believe that the draft is rigged and that we're all crazy, right? Like, you're right. They would put Connor McDavid in a market that could sell tickets anyway after they've won 3 draft lotteries in the prior 6 years. Yes, that's exactly where the league would put them.
You know what? I'm all for enhanced Olympics. Rig the draft.
Rig the draft.
Yeah.
Rig the draft.
Or just don't have the draft.
Don't have the lottery. Just
Lottery. Have the draft. Don't have the lottery.
You know what the PWHL is doing? The Women's Hockey League? From the time you're eliminated, that game fourth, your points percentage the rest of the year. So it's like, okay, you're
the
eliminated.
highest gets lower.
They get to pick first. Now it's a smaller league. There's not as much variance up or down. Some team might be eliminated with 2 games to go, another with 15. But I think it's called like the golden rule or gold something. And it's like,
but again, it potentially doesn't help the team that just really sucks.
Yeah, which I guess is what we're doing anyway when we pull from the lottery 2 or 3 times.
I know.
And it does. It definitely. There's no tanking on that way, right?
Tank away. I don't care.
And you could argue San Jose tanked all year.
Yep. As the Sabres did in the McDavid year, only to have an 11.5% Oilers lottery ball pop up. Crazy world, friends. Let's go to a game day. Calgary Wranglers in Palm Springs. Getting some sun? Nope. Heading into a cold building? Yep. Air conditioning? You bet.
Saddle up.
It is. There's Dustin Wolf, our boy.
Saddle up, partner.
It's going to be tough for Noodles here. 8:00 start. Jesus, can't they move this up so the people in Toronto can see this in prime time? This is Dustin
very
Wolf,
argumentative
in the AHL, the MVP last year of the league.
It's why he's good at this, right?
You are very argumentative today because Noodles is right. They don't have to start it that late with the best player in the world.
And you told Noodles to move to the Mountain Time Zone.
Yes.
That was your rebuttal to his, why don't we start games earlier?
Like the Eastern Time Zone, by all means, leave the Eastern Time Zone.
What about those folks that can't move? And would you be happy if everyone from the
Noodles
East
can move? That's fine. Yeah.
Right. So it's not about whether we can start the games earlier. It's because Noodles has chosen to live.
I think we should just keep all the teams
Ontario.
in the Eastern Time Zone. Don't let anyone outside of that time zone get a team. We can't be keeping people up late. God damn it. I think moving up the games a couple hours or an hour.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What? Wait, what did you just?
Calgary Hitmen will have a Calgary Flames prospect on their blue line next year. Dino, do you remember this fellow from Nashville?
Axel
Hurtig?
I don't actually, but
he was the 7th round monster they drafted with their final pick at the draft. Calgary Hitmen.
We were drunk on day 2, remember? We didn't even go on day 2.
Were we driving through the night trying to get home on day 2? Something was
Maybe
happening.
that's what it was, yeah.
They did indeed take him, though. And he's coming to the Hitmen. So exciting. So exciting. What a bunch of beautiful games last night, guys. What just incredible stuff.
Unbelievable.
Back-to-back overtimes. There's Jacob Trouba.
Shoveler loved that one.
I don't know how he
Dark
hurt himself.
Oh, my God.
I went from worried about, I believe it's Teravainen's life, to immediately worried that Trouba finally had to deal with the Trouba hit.
Yeah. Yeah, Marty Nate just kind of lost an edge and also bailed out on it. And then Trouba was mad. God, I was trying to decapitate you, and then you ducked out, you puss.
There is another angle, too, where he swings with the elbow and just misses the head.
Look at Glenn Anderson there in the gray suit.
Is that Glenn?
Yeah. Look at these boys out there giving it their all. Trouba's dangerous, eh?
Didn't Trouba F up?
What?
No.
I mean, he's playing in New York. He's making all the money. He got his ass out of Winnipeg.
There was
What
there
did he
was a
fuck up?
play where I'm going to have to find it.
You're gonna find it.
Well, because he's aggressive like it was a train.
Yeah.
And it was like there was a play at the net, and he just comes charging into the offensive zone, and I think they went back the other way 2-on-1. And I'm like, why are you going rushing in there on that play? Like,
Yeah.
Time and place, but
Yeah.
anyway, sorry.
But
Pinder.
when you're young and when you're that solid and you can
That's
hit
enough
like
level
that,
hitting.
God, well, I mean, you were kind of that guy when you were a kid. How you see a guy coming across the middle? How big do your eye? I'm going to kill this man. Like it's got to be the most fun feeling in the world.
Oh, it's
yeah.
weird.
Oh, you don't see me. This is
I'm
great. Here we come. A Boango. Gotcha. Good. You'd want to do it every shift, I would think.
Dion seemed to his first few years. When he stopped doing that, that's when. What do we got here?
Physical game though, right? Did you guys watch? Because I watched a good chunk of it. That was a hell of a hockey game. I thought it was awesome.
They were
double overtime.
Both teams.
Yeah.
Here's another good image from the game. I don't know if you saw what it ended, guys. It might have been too late out east. There's Vinny Trocheck against the glass.
Yeah.
That is
unbelievable. That is awesome. That looks like AI, Rhett.
That does look like AI.
It's like
that is.
Make me a Vinny Trocheck spider made of hockey gloves. Okay, here it is.
Crowd was wound up. Double OT.
Great building.
Awesome building.
President's Trophy winners, 6-0 in the postseason. The Rangers are humming.
And both goalies made some huge saves in that overtime.
In both overtimes, yeah.
Yeah. What was it? Because for the Canes,
54 saves for Shesterkin.
57 shots, 30 missed shots. Rangers blocked 27. That's 114 directed towards the net and lose.
The late game had a bit of a mishap. I don't know that you guys caught this. That's late in Buffalo, and it was off air. Here's that's Mark Rycroft, I believe, on our left, the right of the photo, with not Craig Simpson, but someone looks like Craig Simpson. Look at him as he goes for a little sip of coffee here. Oh, that's my chew spit. Oh dear. You all done it. That is no good.
You put your dip in there.
Oh boy. Music kind of fits that, actually, doesn't it? Ted Lindsay Award winners are announced. This is the players' vote, not the media vote. The media vote had McDavid, Kucherov, McKinnon. The players said Matthews in, McDavid out. I understand that. 69 goals is a lot. Whew. And 4 amazing seasons.
Players hate McDavid.
It's as clear as day.
Guess
How many
so.
of these has he won in a row? Tonight's action, 2 games. Boston, Florida, followed by Edmonton, Vancouver. Do we want a Florida win to even this out? Do we want to see Boston really push Florida on the ropes here? What do we want?
Ryan, please.
I know where your interests lie. Dino, what's up?
Yeah, let's go. We want games. It's going to be sad when there's no games on. We got to wait 2 days for let's go, Florida. Let's go.
And we'll see how Vancouver deals with that dynamic Edmonton offense. Can you bully? Can you stay out of penalty trouble? Can you defend them? Or are you fucked? To put it eloquently.
You wish, I guess if you're an Oilers fan, you don't. You wish Demko were in there.
Yeah, that's kind of their game, like their superstar, right?
Would be helpful for sure. The kid's gonna play well. Let him go, kid.
Sealow's, he's too new to. This is you in Florida, right? You're too young and dumb to realize what's going on.
Cannot fail.
Yeah, just go play, kid.
Fail.
Stop thinking. Now, here's the thing. Vancouver, we thought was hexed because they had that stupid song that got released, and we in Calgary are familiar. There was a bad rap song that came out, and the Flames immediately shot into the sun.
Soiled themselves.
And the franchise has never been the same. That the months that followed basically have thrown this team into a rebuild. Not taking any caution there were the Vancouver Canucks with a song, and now we get this from Edmonton?
Time to ride the cane train. All aboard, let's stand the eye. parked in front. He's parked in front and on the hunt.
You know the Oilers are ready. You know McDavid is ready. Your Capitan, your Capitan. Oh, Capitan.
I suddenly think the Canucks can win this thing, guys. That is awful. And that is a hex you have placed upon that team.
Wait, let it play.
No, that's any more, and we're going to lose YouTube viewers.
Good?
We thought the Canucks song was bad, which it is.
Now,
I mean,
they are
it's
trolling
bad.
us. Those people are
Very
trolling
bad.
us.
This was remember this one? Umbrellas?
Late night, game night. Back again, you already know. On the ice, we not nice. Go Canucks, go, 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 go.
All right, you get faded a
One
little
time
bit,
for
Jack.
Vancouver City.
One time for Thatcher Demko. Yeah, he's hurt. Thanks, guys. Good work there.
He did
So
get
if
one time. He got one game.
Yeah, one game for Thatcher Demko. If you thought that the Canucks song was bad, how do we feel today? El Capitan!
They are trolling us. That's a spoof. They're winning. They're loving this. They're sitting at home, dying laughing. I hope.
I
It's
just want a
horrendous,
plague of
yeah.
injuries on both these teams for this nonsense. You got to get smarter, people.
Yeah,
And the good
what if-
news, Rhett, is at
yeah.
least there aren't any politicians trying to capitalize on this nonsense. Oh, hang on. Jack found something.
Hey, Mayor Sully, how's it going? Now, I hear your Edmonton Oilers are going to be playing the Vancouver Canucks tonight, and we're actually pretty excited about it. So much, in fact, that we'd like to challenge you to a little bet. So if the Vancouver Canucks, or when the Vancouver Canucks beat the Edmonton Oilers, we'd like for you to fly the flag of our beloved Canucks above City Hall and rock one of these amazing Vancouver Canucks jerseys. And in the unlikely event that Edmonton actually wins, we will do the same. And so, Mike,
Here we go, Dan.
Are you up to the challenge? Because we are. Hey, little buddy.
Oh, and there's Finn. Who could have? Yeah. And what's he going to do? Ah, wow. Can both these teams lose? Is that a possibility that is allowed in this tournament?
I'm just glad that it's starting at 10:20 Eastern.
And then, of course, there's the usual back and forth on social media, broken car meme. You know, the broken car meme. Be careful out there, folks. I left some Darnell Nurse rookie card in my car. Someone broke in and left 5 more. Like back and forth. Because this series hasn't even started yet.
Just
We already had a Boston Pizza. People are boycotting in Penticton of all places. Like, this is going to be insane. And it's 2 incredibly obnoxious fan bases, as Calgarians would know.
This is potentially going to be very hard to watch.
I'm just glad it's starting at 10:20
That's
You
Eastern.
can
right,
sleep
yeah.
easily, Fred. How about this pal of the show, Darcy Hordichuk? A little news surrounding his son today. Top pick in the U.S. priority draft.
boy,
Western
Braden.
League. Plays like his old man, apparently. He's got
Regina.
some physicality. Off to the Pats. And yeah, the real draft, no, I should say the non-U.S. priority.
Think he just
Regular
texted
full-scale draft goes tomorrow.
Our Capitan. Our
Our
Capitan.
WHL, sorry, Rhett. Look at this. You kidding me? Another overtime game.
What the
I've
age,
never
Red?
been so mesmerized.
6 overtimes in a best of 7. Game 7 overtime. Moose Jaw 3, Saskatchewan 2.
The heartbreak. I can't have nice things.
Mm.
And you guys can't either because I was going to come back. And now, F it.
So we lose out because you're not coming back,
He was going to commute to the games from Calgary, I guess. I don't know.
right? Okay,
I don't get that either.
tough break.
Now, Jake Kuda is a reporter in Chicago that covers
Great
baseball.
name.
Jake Kuda, all he pumps out is bangers. He's found a new advanced metric using bananas to talk about how good teams are doing. The White Sox ruined beyond any hope. Those are blackened bananas. The A's, very green bananas. It'll be a while. And now we get controversial here. The yellow banana, Jack's Pirates, almost but not quite. And then the Padres are well, hang on now. Are we doing some baking, Jay? You can't actually think the browned up yellow banana is the good
people
one.
Like it.
Need some.
It does match the Padres logo. I'll give you that.
Banana bread time there almost.
That's cooking, Dean.
Yeah.
That can't be throw it in your backpack.
Well, it's good for Jack and his Pirates then.
Go Pirates. Jack, let's go to a game. Come on down.
Fellas,
Let's do it.
We got to welcome someone into the club. I think Rhett's still a part of this club, but I'm confused a little bit. Look who is now officially a Canadian.
Oh, David.
Hey. Look at you.
Oh, Dave.
It's a cute little flag and a huge, massive flag.
Eating fool, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the deal there?
Somebody buy Dave a cheeseburger. Welcome to Canada, Dave.
Doesn't like burgers or only
burgers.
Yeah. It's like the Nolan Patrick didn't like pizza. Red Flagsville there. Happy
how come he doesn't call us?
Citizenship, Dave.
Yeah, he doesn't have internet.
I think he liked us. I think
so.
I
think he did. Yeah.
Boom. Just got to ask. People like you.
You guys don't want to come on here.
All right. That's the good CFL news.
Oh, yeah.
Now back to being CFLE?
Yeah, 9-game suspension for violating gender-based violence policy for who? Oh, just the league MVP, Chad Kelly, if I'm correct.
Whoops.
Yeah.
And, the Argonauts actually didn't reach out to the league despite at least 9 games. He's got to go do some counseling, and they're going to see whether he's learned what he has to learn. It could be more. Not the best.
Not ideal.
And Chad, some poor decisions based on what's being reported about your behavior, sir. Cavalry FC hosted the Whitecaps last night at Atco Field. Fellas, a great first half. Cavalry had all the ball. A 45th minute stoppage time goal from the stinking Whitecaps and a gorgeous one made it 1-0. The Whitecaps would add to that, and here we are in stoppage time, 93rd minute.
Diaz. In from Sporting and in for Shaw. Malcolm Shaw. He's going to find the impossible angle.
Shaboom!
What an unbelievable moment for Malcolm Shaw.
Great crowd, incredibly crappy weather. I think over 4,000 was the announced attendance. That's for 3 degrees rain and wind up to 25 clicks. Buckle up, soccer fans. It's coming this summer.
How did old Jean Shorts enjoy it?
Jean Shorts did all right. Didn't want anything to do with the, what do you call the big thing that wicks the rain off you? Just the hole in the top?
Poncho.
Yeah, didn't want the poncho. Nope, screw that. Unbuttoned his jacket a bunch. Maybe did it up a couple times. Unbuttoned it again.
Yeah. Got
some chippers, the homemade potato chips out there.
Nice.
Happy kid.
Do they have dip?
You can get the dip, yeah. It's good. Not sure if it's a ranch or a cheese. It's pretty nice.
It's a French onion.
Yeah, maybe it is. Tim Nackey, let's go. He's on a losing skid, boys.
Oh, he's not. He's back, baby. Come on.
86. Go on a blackjack. I'm bidding 10 cents for every Instagram follower I've got. There are 1,210,000 of you in here now. So $121,000 bet is coming right up. Day 86. And we are nearly in Hail Mary territory. A $121,000 bet going on the line. We've gone for a female dealer today. She looks regal. Potentially an equestrian background. I've tangled with these demons before. Historically told I will leave down in cash and a hitch in my giddy up. We see King. Give me 10, 20, 20 plays a 4 when we need it most. We shall not celebrate too soon. But in good stead, thank God you all voted no side bets. Would have been absolutely fucking torched. 121k on the line. Please go low, 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 low. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 too many. We are back, baby. Manifestation of the Millie. Oh, Gondor calls for aid, and our fair maiden doth answer. And I will see you all tomorrow, when you better believe we will be betting even more. Thank God for that.
When he had the 4, like if a 7 shows up, this poor bastard.
I know. Yeah.
Attaboy, Timmy. Big bounce back.
Win.
Great dealer.
Start of a new. Hey, you got to stay with the female. You get to choose.
I think he was saying when it was less than 50K a hand, there was lots of different deals you could choose from. But when you get to this huge numbers, there's just, they don't have that many dealers standing by waiting for bets that big. You get what you get. Yeah, the guy that pissed the pool. You had the Sam Smith love child.
Right.
Yeah, there's lots of good work.
Yeah.
You ever gone climbing, rappelling, caving, Rhett?
Oh yeah,
outdoor adventuring.
Yeah.
I'm betting this wasn't you. So he's got his harness on and he's going to belay himself down, I believe. Nice and slow. And don't worry, someone on the internet said he made it, so we are okay. Let's move on. Fishing, Rhett. Have you ever gone fishing for sturgeon? Because you need to do it in a really
be all right after that.
Yeah, it was just it's a little false fall. There's a couple feet just making viral. They made it on the Pinder Report. Success, achieved it. Fishing in a small boat for sturgeon. Love it. Look at this. Like,
Oh shit!
like he's like the fish is bigger than the boat. Literally, that's. You ever done sturgeon fishing, Red?
Is that Morrison?
Brendan?
He's coming up river.
He's gonna jump. He's gonna jump.
Oh shit!
It does make it funnier in the small boat, doesn't it, Dean?
Wicked.
I'm telling you, honest. There's part frightening
Catching
dinosaur
giant
fish.
sturgeon in the world's smallest jet boat.
Oh wow! Look at the size of that bastard. Jeez!
You just need to wait for that thing to tire itself out.
Whew. I'm gonna pass. I don't know that I need that. Any interest in that, Rat?
They're scary.
I'd go do it, but I'd take you, but I don't know if a whole day on the boat. You
No, it's too much.
I want a boat, not that thing.
Yeah,
Not
you want
that
some
little
sturdy.
dinghy thing that he had going there.
This one's called Crocodile 1. Let's take a peek here. Well, looks like we're in the Everglades again.
Come on, big boy. Got big to do this? Got a big body. Come on, put him up. There you go, good guy.
Yeah, good feet.
Oh yeah?
Holy shit.
Here's where the brain
It's like
is.
someone starting a motorcycle.
Where the skin meets the head. You shoot from the back, and 22 magnums all you need. When you shoot a big one like down top of the head, take at least a 357, 9mm, something of caliber to penetrate the skull. And right on the end of the spout, that's what you hit. If the alligator ever grab you, you pop that as hard as you can. It pisses them off. They open them out. You get your hand out. Watch your leg if he tries to climb in. You slide to the other side. Sometimes he climbs in. It's hard to get him back out.
This is like Creole Rob Ray.
It's not
Yeah,
gonna
it is.
do it.
Yeah.
You're not done. You rub them on the nose.
Very comfy with the.
Yeah.
Cool, huh? Big dude.
So, Dean, happy ending.
Yeah, real good.
You
Croc
love
got a
dogs.
little mate. Guy didn't get his arm bit off. Everyone's a winner.
Crocodile 1.
Didn't have any yesterday.
You have a treadmill at home, Rhett?
Oh, no.
Dino?
Yeah, we've got 4 of them.
There's your roommate.
Yeah.
And,
¡Ay, Miguel!
ay, caramba. El Capitan! El Capitan!
That's why I don't use the treadmill. It's so dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
This one's called Tree. Let's have a look.
Brad? Big week.
No, is this part of Rob Ray's package? We'll mow your lawn and cut down the trees for you.
Oh, yeah.
Let's have a look. He's got it started pretty good here. Being the smart guy he is, he's going to get lower.
You're going for a ride.
Oh,
Robert, you all right?
Rizzer.
It's a lot of Rob Ray in the Pinder Report today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of momentum there. I do like the just incoherent screaming of a young.
So do you
human.
think that's the professional that they hired?
That's
Or is that-
DUG. That's
DUG.
DUG in Northern Sask. Think
That's not trees or us. That's someone doing it themselves, eh? Okay. This one's called Jump. Let's have a look at this.
Van Halen.
You throw your mind.
Oh my God.
Because it's sandy at the bottom, but
You throw your mind.
kind of walks it off okay, but I don't know.
No, you know what? That's BS. He's like, I'm good. I'm good.
Broken
You're
Joe.
not good. You're not good. It's been a while since we had one of those videos of Rhett falling asleep when he's snoring, with the whole outdoor dental, the 15-minute treatment across the soft palate.
Yep.
Finally got another one sent by the shoveler. Here we go. And I've disappointed you, Dean. I haven't got a snake video until this one. Here we go.
Oh! Don't pull.
Happens quick, huh?
Don't pull.
That's because
I would think that means it's
fangs
latched
means
on.
there's some, yeah.
Look at the size of that thing. Ugh. Stay in your house today, Dean. That's your Pinder Report.
Yep. Deal. Pre-owned vehicles, they got them at Village Honda, all makes, all models. They are part of that dealership group, the Wood Automotive Group, 500 or more vehicles for your choosing. That's why you stop in, talk to the good folks at Village Honda, and they will get you set up with exactly what it is you're looking for, your one-stop automotive destination in Calgary. Worth the trip, located in the Northwest Auto Mall, and of course online at villagehonda.com. Capitan. Let's do some Betway Bets. The Betway Bets of the day. There it is. If you have yet to get yourself your Betway account, create a new one. Scan that QR code on the screen, redeem your bonus. You place a bet. If the bet loses, you'll get as much as up to $200 refund. You then use that to bet once again on your favorite sports. Only available this deal outside of Ontario. Bet the responsible way. With Betway, 2 games tonight. I am going in on just the one of them, Edmonton at Vancouver. A regulation win for the Oilers pays 120 on the plus side. And not a lot of value in the McDavids and Dreisaitl's of the world, but Hyman has been almost as good. 2 points or more for Zach Hyman, a plus 220 as the Oilers stroll into Vancouver tonight on the strength of that inspiring little musical ditty. How can't they fare well after that? Those are my Betway bets.
Let's start out east for the earlier start of the 2. It's game 2 between Florida and Boston. Big Gabe Hunting, Sammy Reinhart. Let's get going, buddy. Plus 700 for the first goal scorer. Nobody scored more in the regular season than Reinhart in this series, and not named Austin Matthews anywhere in the league. Let's go. And then I am going to put my money where my mouth is. I've said Vancouver can defend and make this low event. I also, using every ounce of will that my human corpse has to believe that the Canucks can beat the Oilers, and this is my path forward. Under 5.5 goals pays plus 125.
It's not the most confident rationalization that we've ever gotten out of you, but it's there. I'm hoping I'm right, and because of that, I'm going to make this bet.
It's freaking Edmonton, and please let that song put a pox upon their organization. Yeah, all that.
Yeah. So again, you can use our bets or not. You
That's
can go
correct,
in,
yes.
and there's so many options for you. You can go in and bet any number of them, aside from the under 5.5. I hope you're right. Listen, I'm not. I'm
4
hoping,
of the last 6 Canucks games
Mhm.
under 5.5.
Now remember the LA Kings. It was a 1-0 win for the Oilers that one.
There
game,
was a low scoring one in
and
there.
There was a 3-2 in there.
That's
there
an
were also
under.
some that were not as low scoring. Betway, bet the responsible way with Betway. You get the app, get it on your phone, get it on your tablet, get it on your desktop, whatever it is. Just get in the action with Betway. Scan that QR code. Why wouldn't you?
Not available to you stinking Leafs fans, though.
Not in Ontario. No, sir. On Friday, we'll do the Great Clips inbox. If you want to get your questions in, email them through greatclipsinbox@flamesnation.ca. And coming up in a couple days, it's already Wednesday. Friday, we'll do your questions, thoughts, whatever it is that you have inside the Great Clips inbox. So send them in. greatclipsinbox@flamesnation.ca. Did you have something?
The Hitman draft.
I'm not sure. I've not been
The imports,
monitoring.
You would know the imports, wouldn't you, Rhett? A lot of Yankee Doodle dandies that you'd have seen.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
I don't know either. Let's find out. Hitman Parker Schellenberg from Irvine, California, from the J. Sarah Catholic Prep Lions.
Oh, Shelley.
Hey, Shelley.
Good pick.
Let's see if there's any Buffalonians here. A lot of California. My goodness. I guess
Tverdovsky's
it would be
kid.
that side of the problem.
Who?
I think it's Tverdovsky.
Oleg?
Maybe
Great
not.
trade.
Which one was that? Oh, dear. That's the
get me
Jets
going,
one,
Ryan.
isn't it?
Paddock. Idiot. Sorry, I'm sure Paddock's a nice guy, but awful deal. Chad Kilger, is he in the Hall of Fame? No? No.
Not the NHL one.
Tverdovsky, is he jersey hanging from a raft?
No.
Up rings, anything like that? No? All right.
Eli Tverdovsky from LA was playing at the Okanagan Hockey Academy U15 prep team. Is that your boy, Rhett?
I don't know.
So, Rhett,
He was out east.
there was a way for a long time when we started doing Barn Burner, you would end the show with a little phrase, couple words. And I just wondered, do you feel like that would be something that we bring back to life right now? They're heading into a series against Vancouver. I would always say that'll do it, and we'll see you tomorrow and that sort of thing. And then you would have a little kind of a footnote, and then we would go on our
Oddly
merry
enough,
way.
this ties in. I don't know. I got a gag order kind of thing. There's some WHL teams that have called. Burning bridges.
Well, I mean, it's Ers versus Kings. I mean, that's
We
Oilers suck.
There it is. There it is. That'll do it. See you, buddies.
Time to ride the cane train. All aboard, let's stand the island we are. And don't forget Hyman, he's parked in front. He's parked in front.